My sister-in-law kept giving unsolicited advice. Now I don't want her near my son.
Give her worse advice.
I, 28 female, had my son Kaizen 4 months ago. At 22 weeks, I was diagnosed with partial placenta previa, and we were hoping and praying it would resolve. But at 28 weeks, I was told I have complete placenta previa. By the way, this comes from Prestigious Ice 7293, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, this news hurt because I had a birth plan, but my doctor still closely monitored it, even though he made it clear that there might be less chance of resolving it, and I might have a C-section. At 35 weeks, I had heavy bleeding, so I delivered my beautiful baby boy through an emergency C-section. My son was in the NICU for 2 weeks before we got to go home. 2 weeks ago, there was a family party at my mother-in-law's house. I was sitting in the ladies when Kai started crying, so I breastfed him while chatting. Nobody had a problem with that. Then after that, I handed him to my sister-in-law since she wanted to play with him. While she was holding him, she said something. So they started talking about my sister-in-law's labor, and she said it was a breeze. Then I said, "Oh, that's nice. I hope to have a natural with my second someday." Then she said, "A natural birth needs preparation during the whole pregnancy." Then she went on to say, "You never worked out or got active much." So I told her it was because of the placenta previa situation. This woman literally said, "That's not an excuse though. I had round ligament pain and I still managed to keep active." So that's different. That's a different thing. You just said different words. You said you said a different thing.
And why are we like bullying her for her birth?
It's so weird. I told her I was kept on bed rest half my pregnancy and had too many hospital visits, so I didn't want to do anything to risk putting myself in danger. Then she said, "Your body can feel the nerves and it reads accordingly. You should have relaxed and let nature take its course. That's how natural births work. The C-section was avoidable." I told her to F herself and took my baby out of her arms and went to my hubby. We left after. Apparently, she told anyone who asked where I am that I got sensitive and left the party. After a few days, she asked to see Kaizen, and I said I'm not comfortable being around her at the moment. She accused me of weaponizing my son and using him to hurt her. Note, the whole pregnancy she kept on giving unsolicited advice on how to fix the placenta previa, and I feel like she thinks if I had listened to her, I would have had Kaizen naturally. I felt sad for a few weeks after birth because my birth plan didn't go how I wanted it to. These feelings just feel like they resurfaced, to be honest. I thought I was okay. Am I the a-hole for grabbing him and not agreeing to visit her? And there is an update, but what do you think?
No, you're not. I mean,
if she hasn't apologized for what she said, you don't know her anything.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
And like that's your own medical issue.
Yeah. Like, what is she? She's not a doctor. She doesn't know anything.
Nothing.
But there is an update. I made my post hours ago, and I'm so overwhelmed at the amount of support and kindness I've gotten. So when I told my husband about what he did, I didn't like his reaction. I told him exactly what happened, and he said, "I don't want to interfere in women arguments, babe." I then told him that he can at least ask his sister to be sensitive about my experience. And he said, "Why don't you two talk to my mom about it so she sits you two down and have a mature discussion?" My husband knows sister-in-law is the apple of my mother-in-law's eye, so she would side with her. There has never been a need for my mother-in-law to pick sides, but if there ever was, we all know who she'd choose. I told him that I would feel more comfortable if he's there, but he said it's a birth thing, so women should discuss it. I mentioned in a comment on the original post that my husband suggested therapy. He feels like the only reason I was offended by sister-in-law is because I have not gotten over the fact that I had an emergency C-section. The reason that she was offended by your sister is because your sister was rude.
And why does he sound mad that she had a C-section now?
I mean, he's right, but I just really want him to talk to his sister. Is that so wrong? I want his support and for him to make things clear to her. If you're wondering whether I have a support system like family, then no, I don't. My parents are in a different country and I live in my husband's home country. I do have a few friends. That is why I would appreciate all of your comments. And there is a second update, but what should OP do?
I'm like kind of torn because it sounds like you need your husband to go to talk to the mother-in-law, but He's not gonna. He sounds scared of his own mother
Yeah,
and
he's like, I can't talk to
sister.
them. I can't talk to them. I
Don't
think
make
that
me
you
do
need to sit him down and say, hey, pregnancy is not just a woman issue. We had a son together. You were involved in this. Yeah, it was my body. But I need you to, like, your sister is being rude to me, and I would like you to tell them not to be rude to me.
And
Like,
and you're my husband.
And
Back
you're my
me
husband.
up.
Yeah, I need your partnership. Because right now I feel very unsupported.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm not trying to, we're not being catty. It's not just this like silly, immature thing that we're having a fight over. Your sister made a rude comment and I would like to address it. And if he doesn't like that answer, then you say, hey, we might need marriage counseling because you're not hearing me. Update 2. Hey everyone, first off, I would like to thank you all for the support I got. I saw some comments saying I named my son Tragedy with an EIGH. My husband and I agreed that I would pick the first name and he would pick the middle name, so we both get to name him. If you don't like the name, then I don't know how to help you with that. Besides, I did not want his first name on the post, so I used his other name, Kyson. I now realize that I could have just used a fake name. Today, a lot happened. I talked to my sister-in-law and mother-in-law, and I also talked to my husband. It went terribly. Actually, that is an understatement to what happened today. My talk with sister-in-law and mother-in-law took place at my mother-in-law's house at around 10 a.m. I got there and they were already there. I expected my hubby to have gone with me, but he didn't. My sister-in-law got to the point and asked me why I was so upset with her. I reminded her all that she said to me, and she said, was I wrong though? You're just offended that I spoke the truth. I remembered all the advice I got from your comments, and I told her what I had learned about placenta previa and her misinformation. I also told her about the difference between round ligament pain and placenta previa and what I went through. She rolled her eyes and said, that's what doctors want to do so they make money off of C-sections. Girl, do you know anything about anything?
I think your regular birth would have still been very expensive.
Girl, you don't. It feels like you're just pulling things out of thin air. My mother-in-law the whole time sat there defending her and saying I shouldn't take it to heart, while sister-in-law still stood on all she said. She called me incompetent and sensitive, so I said some colorful words and walked out. By the way, I was baby wearing. She grabbed my arm and pulled me, telling me she isn't done talking and that I am walking away with her nephew. I told her to let me go or I'll get her arrested for handling me in that manner, so she let go. I told them when they are ready to behave like adults, then they will see Kyson. I was so scared of standing up for myself, but I did it. My hands were shaking, LOL. I got home and hubby wasn't there, so I got Kai to take a nap and called my dad. I spilled everything to him, and he was furious. He told me to either move out or fly back home. I told him I have to talk to hubby first, and I will tell them how things go. When hubby got home later in the afternoon, I was breastfeeding. He came into the living room and asked how the meeting went. I could tell he had a sour mood. I told him it went bad, and he told me, oh, I know. He told me that his mother is so hurt by my disrespect. I told him how they behaved, and he told me that I'm trying to say his mother is a liar. So basically, his mom called and told him I was screaming and shouting at them. She told him I was hysterical and even rattled Kai up. Sister-in-law backed mother-in-law up, so it was like a tag team. I explained what actually happened, and he said all this drama wouldn't be happening if I didn't overreact to a few comments made at the party. I was shocked. I told him I thought he was supposed to defend me, and he said he can't ruin the relationship with his family because of my insecurities. I told him that I will leave with my son and go to people who actually care about me, and that my dad will book my flight. I walked away with Kyson, and he grabbed my arm and said his son goes nowhere. He told me he was tired of my continuous complaints about his family. He said if I was still hurt by those comments, then maybe I'm the problem and need to look into fixing it. He brought up a few memories I don't want to mention, but just past experiences with his family. At this point, it was getting loud and Kai was crying, so I told hubby to relax. He didn't. Let's just say the living room wall understood he was angry. So I told him I want to go somewhere I feel safe. I left with Kai, and we are currently in a hotel. I want to move to another city and start life fresh there. I can request for a transfer. My husband expresses himself audibly when angry, so what happened after that was so unusual and a shock. He has called me asking me to come home and that he was just frustrated.
Nope.
No one punches walls when you don't need to do that when you're frustrated.
And if he already did it to a wall, it will get worse.
Yes.
Nope.
Yep. He knows this account and he knows about the posts, so he saw the comments that I got. He sent a message about how I let strangers on the internet get into my head and convince me against my family. He said he felt torn between supporting his sister and supporting me. And I can't blame him for not knowing which side to take. I can.
That also means that he read all these comments fully siding with her and was like, how dare you?
They just don't know the full story. But you can hear the full stories if you listen to full episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story, but do you have any final thoughts?
Nothing beyond, I think you did what was good. You took your kid, you got out at the first sign of anything bad.
Yep.
I mean, maybe not the first sign, but the first sign of really bad. And do not go back.
Do not go back. Yeah, this is totally inappropriate behavior. Should not have your child around that. Go to your support system. Go see your family. Yeah, this is not okay. But there is a little bit left to this story. I told him I don't want Kai to grow up in such an environment and stopped replying. I don't know if I was dramatic or did too much. I still don't understand why he got so angry and why he reacted that way. I also want to know why his mom and sister lied to him. I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, but Kai and I are safe. I will talk to a lawyer about the next steps to take. I feel at peace. I have gone through so much in my 5 years of marriage. I now want to raise my son in a healthy environment. Thank you for the support, really. And folks, that is the end of that story. But yeah, get your support. Get what you need.
Yeah, take your dad up on the flight home.
Yeah, absolutely.
I realized that my mother doesn't really care for me, so I cut her off. That's the sound of snippage. A little backstory. When I, 17 female, was 3, and my little sister, 16 female, was 1.5, we got pulled out of our bio mom's care by CPS. It was a big story, and I'm not going to get into that, but we ended up in foster care, and we really love our current parents. We see them as our real parents, since they're the ones who raised us. By the way, this comes from user Confident Ad 5730. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So we still see our bio mom every 4 months, but she remarried. And in 2015, she told us that we would get a little brother. At first, I thought that was cool, but when I realized we weren't even going to see him much, I just didn't really care about it. I love my little brother. He's a beautiful little boy who's turning 9 this year, and I do not blame him or our youngest brother, who was born in 2020, for any of the things my mom did. I know they are totally innocent, and that's why I'm not cutting contact with them completely. I still want them to be a part of my life, which I do by sending them letters. The thing is, these past few years, our bio mom constantly reschedules our meetings. Normally we have about 3 meetings a year, since we have one every 4 months, but since she reschedules so often, it came to the point where we really only see each other once a year.
Dang.
While I understood that it was hard for her when my brothers were first born, I now don't really have compassion for it anymore. In 2022, we didn't see each other before Christmas or after Christmas, and because of that, we got our Christmas gifts when we got our Easter gifts. For me, that also included a birthday gift since I was born in November. I have no problem with getting my birthday present in November since I'm used to it, but what really annoyed me was that she asked me and my sister what we wanted as gifts a week before we met up. She phrased it like, "What did you want for Christmas?" That really annoyed me. That was also the point where I started to question how important we actually were to our bio mom. So after she cut contact with us again, and we had like 2 missed meetings, and we saw each other again, I realized how little she actually cares. So I decided I had enough. I wrote her a letter where I stated that I really didn't like the way she treated me and my sister, as if we weren't as important as her other kids, even though we were all her biological kids. I told her since I'm turning 18 this year, I would have no problem cutting her out of my life. Since I am almost an adult, I want to be treated like that, which I believe is my good right. I gave her the letter on our last meetup, and I wrote in that letter that I wanted her to write me a letter in response, and that I would not accept it if she called or texted me. I gave her 2 options in my letter. Either she actually cared enough to spend time with me and my sister, or I could just cut contact with her. I didn't really include my sister in that decision because I believe it's her decision whether she wants to cut contact with our bio mom or not. So I only spoke for myself. I specifically wrote that she had 1 week to send me a letter with her response, and if she didn't write one, I would immediately assume she picked the option that I would not attend our meetups anymore and I would be cutting contact with her. Due to a problem with our mail, I actually gave her 2 weeks to send the letter because mail was being slow and there was a problem with delivery. But it's actually been 3 weeks and there's still no letter. Dare I say, OP may push it to 4 weeks.
Bump the deadline.
I decided she probably picked the option that I'd be cutting her out of my life, which was okay with me. If she didn't want me in her life anymore, then I would not be part of her life anymore. It's that simple. Since my sister knew I'm on a school trip when our next meeting would be, she asked why no one talked about rescheduling it. Since I didn't tell her about my letter and neither did my parents, they thought it was my decision if I wanted to tell her or not. I told her that it's simply because I would not be attending the next meeting. Boo! Stop lying to your sister. Tell your sister the truth. She asked why, and I told her what happened and about my decision, and she called me a knucklehead for just cutting our bio mom out of my life. Okay, so you did do the thing you told her. The thing is, since I'm the oldest sibling, I had to witness way more of the things that happened in our early childhood, and it actually requires me to still go to a therapist to deal with it. I have ADHD and anxiety because of what happened in the past and because I was born with ADHD. She didn't have any of these because she was only a baby when everything that happened, but I was old enough to actually get trauma from it. That's why I view the whole situation way differently than she does. I told her it was her decision whether she wanted to cut contact with our mom or not, but it was my decision to do so as well. And now I decided to do so. My sister has been calling me a knucklehead and saying that it's not fair to our brothers for me to cut contact with our mom. But the thing is, I never said I would cut contact with my brothers. I just don't want to be in contact with my bio mom. My brothers would still get gifts from me and letters because they really aren't at fault here. My sister said it doesn't matter and I'm still the knucklehead, so I asked a friend of mine who has known me since we were kids, and she also said what I did was wrong and I shouldn't cut contact with my bio mom like that. I really don't think I'm the knucklehead here because I actually gave my bio mom multiple choices and I have been giving her multiple chances as well, but she just never showed me she actually cared. So I came here to ask for your opinion. Am I the a-hole here or not? And there is an update.
We have an update. This is an interesting one because again, OP is also still 17 right now.
Yeah.
So very young.
Forever is a long, long time. The likelihood of you being like fully no contact forever is probably not like super high to begin with, since you're 17. Show me I'm worth a letter.
Yes.
Show me I'm worth
Yes.
the time it takes to write one letter.
Yes.
And you couldn't do it. So at this point, it's like, well, I'm just going to do what I said I would do.
Yeah.
And I guess she agrees. She's okay with it. So here we go. I can't see how you're an a-hole for that. Here comes the update.
Ooh.
So my bio mom actually sent me a letter, and in that letter, she said because she sees us so little, she doesn't really get to express her emotions for us, and she feels like she's just a side role in our lives. She told me in that letter that my brothers would be very sad if I just didn't come to the meetings anymore. She also told me that she just thinks that she's not a good mom for us, and it would be best if she was a good friend to us, and she hopes she sees me at the next meeting. So wonderful response. She's like, I know I failed you as a mom. I feel like I probably can't be a mom to you, so maybe I'm your friend? I hope you show up to the Cheesecake Factory.
It's honest.
Yeah.
It's very
Which is all you can ask for right there.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, yeah, I guess she is. I don't know. There could be some more direct acknowledgement of like, I guess I'm just a bad mom. I think that's what's giving me a little bit of the ick.
this isn't quoted back, but I do agree with you. I think she should be owning it a little more, of being like, I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel like I've already had to give you up once. Like, I don't want to make you feel like an afterthought even more now.
Yeah, yes.
Like, that's not my intent. It's,
yeah.
hopefully there's more of that in the letter. But now I have to see her in a few days because of legal actions since I'm almost 18, and I don't know how to feel about it. I'm really confused about this letter, and I don't think I actually want to go to the next meeting or really want to see her. I am really confused right now, and I really could use some help and advice. And we have a second update. Hi, it's me again. I know it's been some time, but I got a few updates. First of all, I did write my younger brother, who's 8, a letter. I didn't get a response from it. Yes, and I sent it to him about 6 months ago, so I believe he never got it. But that's not the reason I made this post. It isn't really much about the situation that happened before, but something else, and I really need advice. And by the way, I would advise you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime. And you know what you're going to find there, John?
What is that?
Over 2,000 just sparkling little morsels that you can eat up with your ears. Yum, 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 yum. So let's finish this story, yeah?
Let's do it.
Today, I was informed that my biological dad wants to have contact with us, me and my sister, and honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. He's been absent for almost 16 years of my life now, and now that I'm almost an adult, I'm turning 18 next month, he wants to reconnect. But I don't feel like letting him into my life or having a conversation with him at all. Because of him, my sister almost passed away, and I really don't want to talk to him, or my foster parents say it's my decision on whether I want to talk to him or not. But my sister is saying that I should because he's still our father. But, I disagree. But I don't feel like I have to, especially with everything that he put me through, even when I was just a baby. I really just need advice on what to do. And that is the end of that story. OP, just enjoy your foster parents as your parents.
Yeah. You don't owe him anything, It doesn't sound like that's what you want, what you're interested in. So I think it's perfectly fine for you to continue. And I think honestly, I feel like Dakota, you've had the underlying thing of kind of all of your advice this episode has been just kind of take it case by case. You could feel right now it's like, hey, you did all this stuff to me and I do not want to see you right now. That could change in 10, 20 years. That's fine.
You can close the door and do the deadbolt lock, but then don't do the chain and then a bar and then nailing it up and then all this just make it pretty. You can unlock it and just go, oh, okay. Oh, nope, not yet. Okay.
I like that.
My wife kept embarrassing me every time I had a Zoom lesson.
Stop it!
Being a teacher, I am currently giving lessons over Zoom. I recognize that studying math over Zoom isn't the most exciting thing in the world for students, and I can barely get them to even pretend to be interested in my lessons when we're in the classroom, but they have done an admirable job of staying focused. My wife is making it extremely difficult on my end, though. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Sabotaged, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, several months ago when my lessons began, I went from working long hours to being at home all day. Unfortunately, my wife does not seem to understand that while I am at home and while I can occasionally help out with a chore or two, I still have actual work to do. Between lesson prep, grading, and meetings, my schedule is quite full. The first time she interrupted my lesson, she abruptly opened the doors to the room where I was teaching and loudly asked me to do the dishes. This was unbelievably awkward as I was in the middle of teaching 36 10th graders geometry. I told her that we would talk about it later, but not being deterred, she asked if it was a yes or a no. I said it was a yes, but that I was in the middle of a lesson. Without a word, she closed the door. I got some chuckles from students, but a bit of red-cheeked embarrassment was the extent of the damage. The next time, 2 days later, she again barged in holding a pair of my pants that I left on the floor of our bedroom. She loudly stated, "You need to pick up after yourself." This time, before responding, I muted my mic and turned off my camera, telling her that I was in the middle of a lesson. Again, she walked away without a word. At this point, I moved my setup into the basement of our house so that I could avoid further interruption. Since my basement looks like it probably has a few passed away bodies buried in it, my students have begun to call me Basement Dad.
Aw, that's cute.
Which is endearing, but I would rather teach in a room where I'm not going to get asbestos in my lungs. The trouble really began when I started locking the door to prevent interruptions. My wife will begin by rattling the door a few times.
What does she need?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Like, does she not know his hours?
Literally,
Come
I'd be
on.
like, oh my goodness, you cannot do this.
This is my job.
This is
that
my
you're interrupting.
job.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Followed by pounding on it. Then she'll groan loudly and say something negative about me. After that, I can hear her walking around the house,
Oh my
slamming
God.
doors. A few weeks ago, she was literally jumping up and down, stomping her feet in the room above mine.
Why is she acting like a child?
This
Is she
is
just
crazy.
like so bored during like
like
the pandemic that
Yeah.
she has to entertain herself by bothering you?
yeah, like what is going on?
Oh my goodness.
In the first few months of these online lessons, I set up a hotkey to mute my mic and disable my camera instantly when needed. And luckily, my reflexes honed from Counter-Strike in my teens has paid off.
You shouldn't need to do that. Have you had a conversation with her?
Well, let's find out. I don't know. But there have been times where she has sneaked in an embarrassing moment for me. Every time I have patiently explained to her that I need complete quiet to teach my lessons, she says, yeah, okay. Then in the next lesson, without fail, she'll find something new to complain about and throw a tantrum, trying to humiliate me in front of my students. While my mute game is on point, students have recognized that something is wrong. One of my 9th graders even sent me an email asking if everything was okay. I had to make up a lame excuse about needing to mute my mic because of a sudden grinding noise that happens in my old basement. There's no way that she bought that. Since I'm unable to go out, unable to even enter the school grounds, and have no place to go to avoid my wife, I'm unbelievably anxious when I teach. I have tried talking to her calmly, and I even tried to get angry at her. When I yelled at her for forcefully sliding plastic files under the door so that they'd float down in the background during my lessons, she expected me to apologize for getting angry at her. How can I even approach this kind of problem? And we do have an update, but
This
oh my
is so
gosh.
annoying.
What do you do?
Like, you've had a conversation with her.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like, I guess you just like sit her down again. You say, hey, you know what? You lie.
Sure.
You lie. You say, hey, I've gotten complaints from students.
Yeah.
They're sending stuff to my bosses. They have threatened my position and said
Yeah.
that if this doesn't stop, that, you know, I could have some more severe consequences.
Right.
If you want me to lose my job, then continue as you are.
Yeah. During
But-
this literally pandemic, like
Yeah.
recession that they're going to go
And
through.
then also, other route if you don't want to lie. But it isn't a complete lie. People are messaging you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to lie, other route is, why are you bored?
Yeah. What do you need to do? What are you doing?
Do you need like a Rubik's Cube? Why do you
Right.
feel the need to come
Do I
in?
need to put on the TV for you?
Yeah.
But we do have an update. So my first lesson after making that post, my wife went straight back to her old antics. I was in the lesson room as students gradually joined, talking to a student who was interested in luxury cars. At some point during the conversation, I said, yeah, I think I'd have to go with the Lamborghini there. I heard from behind the door in the basement where I was teaching, Lamborghini, in the sarcastic, exaggerated tone of voice that kids will use to mock you. I realized that she was being childish again, but figured that she'd eventually tire herself out. A few minutes after the lesson started, I used the word circumference to describe a word problem. Then I heard circumference from behind the door at the top of the stairs, followed by giggling.
Girl is so bored.
She's so bored.
so bored.
Since the timing was right, as I was about to have the students take a shot at a problem, I set them to the task, muted my mic and disabled my camera, and quietly crept up the stairs. I suddenly opened the door to find my wife with a cup over her ear pushed against the door so she could hear me. I whisper shouted at her for her behavior for about a minute. I asked if she was 5 years old and what the heck was wrong with her. She feigned fear and shock as if I had held her against the wall with my hands wrapped around her throat, which made me just sigh and go back downstairs to finish my lesson. For the rest of the lesson, she was quiet, but after it, I went upstairs to bring up what she did. She started asking if I was going to yell at her again. I responded that I wouldn't, and I tried to get back on topic, but no No matter what I said about her behavior, her response was the same. When I brought up her stomping in the room above before, she said, "Are you going to yell at me again?" When I brought up her sliding plastic files into the door during lesson before, "Oh, are you going to yell at me again?" And when I brought up anything that she has done during lessons, the answer was the same over and over again. Which is so difficult because it's like, okay, yeah, you shouldn't yell.
Yeah,
I get why you did because you
Yeah.
tried to talk to her calmly, and when you feel like
Yeah.
no one's listening to you, you want to yell.
yeah.
But so I get that like she could be upset about that.
sure.
But at the same time, she's totally avoiding the question.
Literally, she's just blaming
Yeah.
you. She's pushed you to the point where you feel like you need to yell.
Yeah.
And then she's like, perfect. Now I'm in the right.
Yeah, exactly. Now you messed up, so you can't blame me anymore. There's absolutely no way to broach the topic with her now. I called her doctor and said that her behavior is erratic and that she might have PPD. The doctor said that he could ask about it when she came in, but there is not much else he could do. The next day, I tried to sit my wife down for a calm discussion about the possibility of her having PPD, to which she responded that she had PTSD from my shouting. Right. When I suggested therapy together, she said, "Oh, to fix your anger management problems?
She's
Sounds
giving
good."
me anger management problems.
Literally.
I'm so pissed at this woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, she sounds like a nightmare.
Nightmare. But you know what would be a nightmare? If you didn't listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, Spotify, Audible, we're on all of them. Just search OK Storytime and you will have sweet dreams instead of
Sweet
nightmares.
dreams. No
But
nightmares.
oh my gosh, there
Yeah.
is more to the story. But
I desperately need this story to end with some sort of conclusion
yeah.
that isn't just, man, she won't listen to me, so we're
Yeah.
at a stalemate.
Like, if nothing is getting through to her, like nothing he could say is getting through to her, I wonder if he can like talk to the principal
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, I know we're not supposed to be in there. I know there's like vid regulations
Literally.
and stuff, but like this is my situation. Can I please come into the classroom to do these
Yeah.
lessons because I can't work at home."
Can't be there.
Like so now I teach in my car in front of Starbucks. Outside of the lesson time, we haven't really had any issues. And now that I'm outside the house teaching, we are strained but stable. I know this is not a very satisfactory outcome, but I think she has deep underlying issues that are going to need professional intervention. When I said I would happily go to therapy with her to find a solution to our communication issues, she told me that I should go alone. I think that that may actually be a good step because having a neutral party to listen to my worries and guide me towards better de-escalation tactics would be highly beneficial. I could also try to entice her to join gradually. There are some comments. Comment number 1 says she acts like she's 12. I mean, does she not like a living wage or is she against education? Someone responds, "I wonder if some kind of resentment of OP's intelligence and teaching degree is going on here. Like maybe she didn't like her high school math teachers and had a hard time with math, so she thinks that OP is being dull and the students will enjoy her livening things up. Is this some weird kind of rebellion against authority?" OP says this is definitely a possibility worth exploration. She could believe that what she's doing is funny, good for the students, or something else along those lines. The only flaw in this theory is that she doesn't really protest when I leave to teach lessons in my car where she can't touch me. Commenter number 2 says you may have found a workaround for this particular instance. However, whatever the underlying problem is, it is still there. You should continue to insist on her telling you why it is she feels the need to try and embarrass you. If you don't find and deal with this root problem, she's going to continue to act out in different ways. Mark my words, she will find another way to undermine and belittle you. Don't let this go. Also, be fair to yourself. You don't have a communication issue. You have your wife is an a-hole issue. You can go to therapy if you want, but I don't think therapists fix that, and particularly not if she isn't there. You need to deal with this. Maybe the right therapist can give you some advice, but you have to be the one to really put the work in on getting her to talk to you about why she's pulling these stunts. Someone else responds, "It might be beneficial for OP to record a video of himself saying everything that he needs to clearly and calmly and sending it to his wife. I have done this in the past with my husband who doesn't really hear me in these moments. He's too focused on his rebuttal and he walks away from it with the completely wrong message and tone. Like, you yelled at me the whole time, when all I did was express my feelings." With the video that they can replay and understand the message, there's also evidence of exactly what you said and that you were calm. I'm not saying this is the best solution, but it can be worth a try. And that is the end of that story. Those are some good comments.
Yeah, I hope they help.
Yeah. Man, because, yeah, I could see that too. Like, if she was thinking it was kind of funny, but if
Yeah.
he's clearly getting annoyed and being
Yeah.
like, you need to stop, then that's when you stop with the jokes.
Yeah.
That's when you
come
stop the
on.
funnies.
Sometimes it's too far.
It's
and
too
it is
far.
too far. And you're being an a-hole,
Yeah.
OP's wife. And good luck to you, OP.
My father wants to move his new family into the house I inherited.
That's my house.
I'm 25, male, not from the US, not looking to get into legalities. I know where I stand on that. My father married his now wife when I was 15. She was really pushy with me because the relationship with her own daughter was almost non-existent. My father did nothing, and I ended up moving with my grandpa, father's father, a few months later. By the way, this comes from Tall Month 9107, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Grandpa passed away suddenly when I was 17, and I inherited all his properties. Instead of moving back with them, they moved with me to Grandpa's house. I left when I was 18 to go to college, and I go back home a few times a year. I let them stay there rent-free as long as they don't touch my room and Grandpa's office. The house has 4 rooms. I got a call from him telling me that I need to clean my room because they plan to turn it into a nursery room. Apparently, my father's wife got in touch with his daughter because she is pregnant and doesn't have a place to stay. I denied his request and reminded him whose house they are staying at and better not touch the rooms unless they want me to punt them out. I told them there is an empty room. She can stay there, but he claims it's too small for both of them. I said that if they have a problem, they can go back to his own place. There, she can take my room. I don't know if he still has the house. I think I've been more than reasonable, but my uncle, father's brother, who doesn't have the best relationship with my father, called me to say to think about it and not punt them out. So I wonder, am I the a-hole? Their verdict was not the a-hole. The day I wrote the original post, I called Mrs. Lawyer to accompany me to the house to deal with this in a civil manner. Saturday, we went early in the morning with paperwork. Once we arrived and I tried to open the door, I was pleasantly surprised that my father had changed the locks.
Oh, buddy boy. Now you've really done it.
We talked through the door and he told me that until I changed my mind, he wasn't going to let me in.
Dude, that's
In my own house.
That's not how that works. Now you're a squatter.
With the lawyer as a witness. My
That's
goodness.
so funny.
I told him that I wasn't planning to punt them out and I was there to solve this the right way, but if he wasn't going to let me in, I was going to do it my way. And he didn't let me in. On my way to the police station, my uncle called me and said that my father called him in order to make me change my mind, but he wasn't going to do it and will support whatever I decided. In the police station, Mrs. Lawyer explained the situation to them and they came with us so I could evict them without issues. Once we were there, the police spoke to them and told them that they had to let me in and get their things out as soon as possible. I hired a moving truck for them. My father tried to fight, saying that he sold his house and doesn't have a place to go, and he also claimed that he was the rightful owner, but the dimwit doesn't have any paperwork to prove it. In a last attempt, he brought up the fact that my stepsister is pregnant, but unfortunately for them, she is in the early stages and doesn't matter either way. After their circus was over, the removal of their things was quick. Most of the things in the house are mine, except for the things that they have in their room and my stepsister's stuff. I'm currently in the house and plan to stay here the next few days. I've changed the locks and I'm installing security cameras. I talked to my girlfriend about moving here and she's more than happy to do so. I'm going to talk to my boss about the possibility to work from home, but it's not a real problem if I can't. Without having to worry about the house, figuring out the rest is easy. That's pretty much it. I think I covered everything. Thank you for taking your time with this mess I used to call family. But guess what? That's not it. Because we've got a second update. We're not even halfway through, folks. My girlfriend found this space and asked me to share our last encounters with my father. So here it goes. We hadn't heard from him until a few days ago when he showed up at the house. I wasn't there, but girlfriend was. My girlfriend told me that my father was there to tell us that since we are now living in the house, we have to host them for Christmas holidays. Not only that, he gave her a list of the food that they wanted and the gifts that they expected to receive. My girlfriend told him to go away before she called the police. I again thought it was over, but I was wrong again. Yesterday, we received another visit from them. Apparently, he called my mother to invite her to spend the holidays with us. She blew him off and told him that she will take us, girlfriend and I, to Europe for New Year's Eve. Wow. He had the balls to demand that she take them too. And my mother just hung up. Mind you, this was the first time that they had spoken after divorcing 16 years ago.
Dang.
Why does he want to go on this trip if it's going to be with this ex-wife?
I don't understand anything about this guy.
He's insane.
He's like, I just think it would be a great time for us to reconnect and also for you to give me keys to the house.
Yeah, what? He came to the house to demand that I convince my mother to take them too, or that we pay for them to go with us.
Well, I don't understand how he's demanding this.
Yeah.
Like, where is his leverage?
At this point, his attitude stopped being disappointing and turned comical. My girlfriend and I just laughed at him, and we laughed so hard that we didn't notice when he left. I can say that we didn't have the best relationship, but he wasn't entitled. I mean, it was already clear why my grandfather, his father, was completely disappointed in him, but it seems that he wants to take it to another new level. I don't know if he will stop, but I hope that he does for the rest of the year. And there is an edit. I have a security system. There are cameras everywhere. I know if he is there. I also have other properties. My tenants and people close to girlfriend and me, even my neighbors, know what to do if my father approaches them in my name. I doubt he will try to break in when we're not here. When I evicted them, my lawyer and the police were more than clear that he could face serious problems if he tries to enter the house or any other of my properties. Unfortunately, in my country, any kind of restraining order is pretty much useless. It is more helpful to call the police right then and there, and he knows I have no problem calling them. There are some relevant comments, but I want to hear yours, Sophia. It's such a silly situation.
I don't even know what you do. Like, you can't with these people.
Yeah.
You just have to keep going through like legal processes with them.
Yeah. And it seems like
Maybe
OP's
block.
doing that,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
And OP's at a good place where he can just laugh about it now.
Yeah, he's just like, I have a house. You guys don't.
Yeah.
I'm going on a trip with my mom.
Yeah. When asked if his father is just broken, OP says, I agree that he is broken, but I can say that he is by his own hand and not by pressure of any kind. He knows what he is doing. I was basically raised by his parents, and they didn't raise me any different than him or my uncle, who is another case. It baffles me that they turned this way. My grandparents raised us to be decent people, and they decided not to be. It is so bad that my grandparents passed away without speaking to any of them. Wow. I grew up watching him make one mistake after another, no ownership or attempt to be better. My grandparents tried to help him, but he refused and said that he was living his life the way he wanted. How can you help someone when he thinks he is right? My grandfather used to say that my father is weak, and I agree, because I have no argument to say otherwise. I never expected to get anything from my grandparents. I'm grateful for what they left me, and I still would be if they left me nothing, because they did more than what they should. I already knew that I will not get anything from my father, financially or emotionally. The same with my mother. Our relationships are superficial. It has been like this since I was a kid. But I won't worry if she ever stops and leaves me nothing. It is her right, and the same with my father. In the end, I take what I'm given, and I can agree with you that I'm also entitled. So update number 3, a little family mess, and my father strikes again, but now he got more than he asked for. 2.5 months after my last post. After the last incident with my father, everything was quiet, and my girlfriend and I left to Europe. Christmas passed and there was no sight of my father. My friends that were taking care of the house reported no incidents. Everything was going well until I received a call from my uncle, father's brother. On December 28th, my uncle called me to tell me that he's leaving the state and is selling his house. He asked me if I was interested in the house because he was pretty desperate to leave. He didn't tell me the reason why he was leaving, and I didn't care. What matters to me is that he was desperate, and this was the opportunity to fulfill my grandpa's wish. Before I continue, I have to give you some context. My uncle's house was my grandfather's childhood home. My grandpa gave it to him, but later regretted it. He left me the task of recovering it, and if I succeeded, to give it to my cousin Marie, my uncle's daughter from his first marriage. He never recognized her, and that is one of the many reasons of my grandpa's regret. My uncle doesn't know that I have contact with his daughter or that I know everything that happened in the past. If he did, he wouldn't sell me the house. Yes, he is that petty. Now, I decided to use the family card and my uncle's desperation to get the house cheap. I know more or less the value of the house, so I made him an offer way below the real value, but that I was going to pay him in 3 installments. My uncle declined because it was too low and because he is not coming back. What he really meant is that he is not going to contact me again. I told him that if he could wait until my return, January 3rd, I could pay him the same amount in one go, but I would also take care of the legal fees and his moving expenses. Meanwhile, he just needed to pack his things, have his paperwork ready, and everything would be done that day. Surprisingly, he immediately agreed. We returned and I could buy the house without problems, and my uncle left the same day. The next day, I called my cousin to tell her to come as soon as she can to my country. She lives in Europe because there is one more thing that my grandparents left to her. She came a few days ago, and I gave her the house and the rest of the money.
Dang.
Whoa.
But he gave her the other house.
Yeah, like the uncle's house. She had to stay a few days to deal with paperwork, and in those days, who decided to appear once again? You guessed it, my father. Unbeknownst to me, my uncle had another buyer, and that person was my father. My father asked my uncle to wait a few days so he could gather more money, and when he got it, he called my uncle, but he already sold me the house. My uncle, in order to avoid dealing with my father, told him that I bought the house. My father, knowing that he can no longer approach my house, he decided to go to my new one, but he was going to receive a surprise. He knocked and demanded that I give it to him, but no one is in there for the moment, so he decided to break in. We saw everything through the doorbell camera. My cousin doesn't speak our language, so I was the one who called the police in her name. Thanks to the area where the house is and the fact that my cousin is a foreigner, the police took action faster than the previous times. It is a pity that I don't have a photo of my father's face when he discovered that the house wasn't mine. It was glorious. My cousin, with my lawyer's help and mine, pressed charges, and combined with my father's previous actions, he will spend a few months in jail.
Dang.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. But you can spend the next few months and more listening to full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Thanks to a few people, I was able to find out why my uncle was desperate to leave. He pissed off his wife's family like really bad. I sent him a text telling him that if he likes to rat me out to my father, I can do the same with his wife's family, so he better not come back unless he wants to play stupid games, and he blocked me after that. He already told me that he wasn't coming back, but I better make sure that he doesn't. In the end, if my cousin decides to keep the house, this will benefit her since she doesn't want to cross paths with my uncle. So yeah, the year started off with a bang. I pretty much got rid of my so-called family for what I think is forever and can finally start building one with my girlfriend without the worry of unwanted people showing up. There are some relevant comments to wrap this up. Accomplished Key 739 says, what did the uncle do to upset the wife's family? OP said he got wasted on Christmas and ended up fighting with his brother-in-law and his nephew, which is the brother-in-law's son. And if that wasn't enough, he also got violent with his stepdaughter who was trying to calm him down.
Stop.
All of this in front of his wife's entire family. Accomplished Key says, just curious, was he charged or arrested? OP says, none of that, which is why he was in a hurry to leave. Dang, that's the end of that story. My fiance is ashamed of my sister, so I'm reconsidering marrying him.
If you don't like my sister, you're out.
I would like to know if I'm being overdramatic or overreacting. I'm 29 years old and my fiance is also 29. We've known each other since 2015 because he attends the same religious church as me. We started dating in 2022 and he proposed to me in February of this year. We have plans to get married in October. He's an only child and I have one little sister who has some special needs, with me being an only sibling to my little sister who is 19. By the way, this comes from Mermaid for Life 96, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, if something were to happen to my parents and when they can no longer care for her, she'll be living with me. She's not severely disabled. She has Down syndrome and a low IQ. She's very independent though. She can walk, talk, eat, shop, do a lot of skills on her own with minimal assistance. She's just very vulnerable and isn't aware of safety. My fiance is fully aware of the circumstances regarding our future and has accepted her living with us. It becomes a topic a lot since we're also considering having our own kids. So not all of the time, but sometimes when my fiance and I go out, I include my sister. I do respite for my sister, and I get paid to do respite for her. Again, my fiance has always been acceptable with me including her when we hang out. We went out yesterday and I included my sister. My whole night felt ruined though because of him. We went out to eat and my sister was trying to order, but he kept rushing her when she was stuttering a bit. I didn't make a scene and kept silent due to not wanting to make a scene. We went to the mall next to go shop at my sister's and I's favorite store. My fiance stayed out of the store, which was fine because this store is aimed towards women. When we got done with shopping, my little sister was showing him what she got, and he didn't say anything and didn't even show any interest. I confronted him a bit, and he made a rude remark saying, "God forbid me not caring about your sister's fragrances." Our last stop was Target, and I had to get some things, and I had my sister help with scanning things. He seemed annoyed and told me that she needs to speed things up because this is awkward.
What are you rushing off to?
Yeah, what do you have to do with
What are
all
you
these
in a
few
hurry?
seconds?
Yeah.
Mind you, there wasn't even a line and multiple self-checkouts were open. When he dropped me off at home yesterday, I didn't even say anything. As much as I want us to grow together, I can't be with someone who belittles my sister. Do I have a right to be upset? And there are some comments, but what are your comments, Sophia?
Absolutely.
Totally.
Like you have already said that in the case that something happens, in the event that something happens to your parents,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to be taking care of your sister.
Yeah.
So this isn't just like oh yeah, she's my sister. You have to be around her on holidays. This is someone you might be taking care of
Yeah.
forever.
Exactly. And like, if you guys are talking about having kids,
There is a high likelihood that one of your kids might have Down syndrome.
yeah, and just kids in general need so much patience.
That's also
And
that,
he
yeah.
is clearly not having any patience.
No.
Like, is it going to be embarrassing for your kids to, like, I don't know, not know how to walk?
Yeah.
But everyone else will understand because they're freaking kids.
Yeah, it's like the 2-year-old doesn't know how to talk right.
So embarrassing.
Figure it out.
Gosh. But there are some comments. Budget discussion 568 says, I'm confused about what was awkward at Target. Her in general? Her speed while checking items or a lack thereof? Either way, I'd be offended and feel protective of her because I can't see his perspective about either being valid. I'm so sorry he was mean to you and towards her. The term red flag exists for this reason. Continue the engagement, but be very aware of what and how he says things. If you continue to see red flags, make the hard choice sooner than later. OP says, I was having her scan items because it's a goal that she works on since she gets state services for her intellectual disability. We had a full cart and it was taking a little longer than usual to finish because she would accidentally scan something twice. So the staff was kind of hanging close around us in case we needed assistance. I think he low-key feels embarrassed just by her presence and feels like we're being stared at. Brightbag293 says, you obviously don't have to if you don't want, but I'm very curious to know what this loser of a man looks like. A lot of losers who talk crap are insecure and below average looking. OP says, it'll be breaking the rules if I post him, but I don't mind sending you a picture of him through PM on here. Confusable Fraggle says, OP, I think things are a bit more worrisome than you are letting yourself believe. He is treating your sister as a nuisance. He is not low-key embarrassed. He is outright ashamed to be seen in public with your sister. His behavior is rude and belittling and dismissive. I currently work in retail and have to oversee the self-check machines often. If he is getting upset because a person learning to use the machine is slower than a person who already knows, he lacks both patience and empathy. I've watched many people come through those machines. Many times we have to fix an accidentally doubled item or a barcode that rings in wrong or what have you. The way people react in those situations is very telling. It's a tiny little stress moment in their day, but it shows their character. Your fiancé is currently showing very poor character. If he has this poor of an attitude about a small oops like these, he will have a much worse attitude about bigger problems. Of course, there are always folks who were already having a bad day and thus react out of proportion. But all you did was take your sister for an outing together. That shouldn't be a bad day for a decent human. This requires a very in-depth conversation at the very least. You need to get to the bottom of what he actually thinks and believes about you, your sister, and your family. His mother's comment about the gene pool shows that he has been taught from the cradle to devalue anyone with a handicap of any kind. I don't think we got that comment in there,
Yeah.
but I'm very curious about what that is.
Where was that?
Yeah,
The gene pool? That sounds bad.
that definitely does.
I feel like the mom was probably making a comment about them having kids then.
Yeah, probably. I apologize for not having a better word than handicap to describe the mindset problem. If he is actively working to undo that conditioning, that is good, but he obviously has a very long way to go. If he is trying to just get by until the wedding, his mask is slipping badly. Either way, your sister does not deserve to be treated as his social dues for being a good guy. She is a human with her own dignity and deserves to be treated as such. I hope you can get to the bottom of this quickly, OP. You are not overreacting at all. I'm afraid you are likely underreacting to the problem in front of you. Best of luck, OP. May you find a nice shiny spine and use it well for your own benefit and then for others. Hugs if you want them. And then Allison C. Miller says, I can empathize with both of you here. I had a niece with special needs and it can be a lot. So I can't blame anyone for not being ready to have that in their life, but it's important for him to respectfully say, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for that, instead of lying to you to keep his romantic access, to put it overly politely. This is a huge red flag. Try to work it out with him if you want, but for the sake of the kids, don't have this man's kids. Being a parent requires way more patience than he's shown he's capable of, and you just know if one of them is disabled, he'll blame you and your family's genes. Yikes. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
True.
Absolutely.
Helicopter No 4166 says, Nor, one thing to keep in mind, aside from how he treats her sister, is that in marriage, there will be times when you will need him to be your caregiver. It could be after the birth of a child that took an unexpected turn, surgery where you can't even bathe without assistance. If he treats your sister the way he does, ask yourself if he would treat you the same way when he is supposed to care for you. I would have an honest conversation with him about your expectations in this marriage and as if this is something he is capable of. OP responds, his mother actually asked my parents about our gene pool when we went out with his parents one time. I think this is our information.
Gross.
No? Yikes.
Gross.
But said afterwards she would love her grandchild regardless.
Sorry, she brought up what's the gene pool and then says, oh, but whatever it is, I'll love my grandchild.
Yeah.
Why did you say it like that?
Like, why even bring it up
Why
then?
even bring it up?
So I just let that one go. So the overall judgment is not the a-hole. And there is an update from only 5 days later.
Uh-oh.
Do you have any comments before we move on?
Well, I think that you should have a very frank conversation with your partner and say, one, my sister's not going anywhere. So you need to learn how to treat her properly and kindly and respectfully.
Right.
Because she's still an adult and she just still deserves respect.
Yeah.
And kindness. Well, I think she's an adult. I'm not sure.
She's 19.
She's 19. Okay, so she's 19. She's still an adult. Treat her respectfully.
Yeah.
She's not going anywhere. And then again, secondly, are you going to be like, this runs in my family. There's a possibility that my child might be born with a disability. So are you up for that? Because if you're not, then let's cut it off here. If you are not 100% ready for your child to be born with like a mental disability, a physical disability, then you're not ready to be a parent with me.
Exactly. There is an update. So after posting about it, reading most of the comments, and doing some deep thinking, I've decided to cut ties with him last Sunday. Whoa. It was one of the most hardest things that I've had to do because we've had our future planned out and he was my first relationship. Oh, wow. Family will always come first with me, and I'm not going to be with someone who is an ableist. Especially when him and I can end up with a disabled child someday, because muscular dystrophy does run in my family. As far as my future, I'm a pediatric registered nurse, so I'm going to keep focusing on my career. I have a savings account set up, so I'm planning on applying for an apartment very soon. I'm also going on a Bohemian cruise in October that was supposed to be our honeymoon, but I'll be going with my best friend instead. Nice. So I'm ecstatic for that. I'm going to keep living my life as best I can and not dwell over a relationship that obviously wasn't meant to be. For the few people who made comments such as, I'm just going to end up single because no one wants the package that I come with. That's terrible. Yeah. Just know that I see the ableism in you, and you might want to humble yourselves because anyone can become disabled respectfully. By the way, anyone can listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. There is a little bit more to the story, but do you have any final thoughts?
I feel like that it does feel, maybe just in the way that's been written, it does feel very quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it is the right decision in the long term.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's up for this kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he wants her sister around. And
Right.
I fear that he might isolate her further from her sister in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. But we do have a little bit more to the story. So for some comments, Stardust Stuffing says, good for you. My daughter is autistic and requires a lot of patience and understanding. I'd lose my mind if someone I knew treated her badly because of her extra needs. So how did he take it? I'm really curious to know. And OP responds, it went pretty sour, but I expected it because he has a pretty short temper. Another red flag.
Well, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. Which is crazy to admit because we are both part of the LDS church. But a little context. So before officially breaking up on Saturday, we went out because I really wanted to get down to the root of the problem on why he was so disgusted by my sister. He started gaslighting me and making me feel like it was a me issue. That's when I knew that it wasn't going to work. And on Sunday, I had him come over to my house and I told him that we're done. He started crying and apologizing. And he turned into a hothead and demanded the ring back and everything that I owned that he bought for me. Crazy, right? Mind you, this happened at my parents' house where I'm currently living. They were already aware of his behavior. And when he demanded everything back and refused to leave my bedroom, I just texted my mom for help because it was the first time that he showed genuine rage at me and I didn't want to get physically hurt. My dad, who is a retired cop, came up and told him to leave. Yeah, when your safety comes into play, this is not someone that you should be with at all.
No.
Boxfin says, well, to be fair, if he proposed to you, you should give him back his ring. Opie says, the ring I absolutely did give back, but clothes that I own and have worn multiple times, car keys that he had insisted to replace when I lost mine in the past, and other petty things like that, I refuse to just give back. OK Research 5686 says totally fair returning the ring, shows respect, but keeping personal items you've used and were gifted makes sense. Not everything needs to be handed back out of spite. And that is the end of that story.
I think OP made the absolutely right choice.
Absolutely.
So obviously the right choice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even just having a quick temper, I'm like, no. That's a big red flag. For sure.
No. Yikes.
Yeah. Definitely made the right decision. She'll be fine. She'll have so much fun on that cruise.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a good cruise. My boyfriend hated that I live with my brother.
What?
What? Okay. Hey there. I'm wondering what you all think about this situation. Well, I could probably offer you some good advice.
Sophia and I live together, and we are brother-sister.
And I used to have a boyfriend. Some backstory. Growing up, my brother, 20 male, and I, 23 female, would fight a lot. Oh, these are nothing like us. Tell on each other all the time. They're a little bit like us, etc. This changed when I went away to college, 30 minutes away, though I lived there. I guess being apart from each other, plus him being in high school and growing up, and as a result, having more things in common with me, made us be friendlier during the time we did get to spend together. He then came to the same college, was a freshman while I was a senior, but we were in school together a little longer since I stayed an extra semester. During this time, he became one of my closer college friends, as we'd hang out a lot, both have people over to my apartment for parties, gained some of each other's friends, so we ended up with a lot of mutual friends.
Dude, this sounds just like you guys.
Yeah, we got a lot of mutual friends.
They just did in college. By the way, this comes from Wanna Be Awake, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, for my senior year of college, I got an apartment with my then boyfriend. He moved out last August, so my brother moved in last May, so there was a bit of overlap. I'm so concerned about the amount of people that are spamming in the chat. You're gonna break the chat. This worked out well because it took some of the financial burden off of my ex, who I was still dating at the time. He just moved for a new job. And my brother, who was very concerned about costs and picking the cheaper option, would be paying less living off campus than on campus. Flash forward to the end of summer, I ended up with a new boyfriend, 21 male, and he ends up moving in. His house wasn't an ideal living situation. My brother and boyfriend got along at first, but they ended up hating living with each other. Very different personalities.
I wonder what.
Whatever, my brother is getting a new apartment in May, so it won't be an issue anymore. My main issue, now, all along, my boyfriend has commented on how weird it is that I live with my brother. Shut your mouth!
Shut your mouth! You
Shut
can live
your
together with your
mouth!
sister and it's fine.
You can live with your sibling forever.
Forever and ever.
Forever.
You can get a compound with your
Get a
sibling.
compound with your sibling
And then you
have
can
all
have
of your
kids and
families
all your kids
each
can play
live
together.
in different houses, but all connected by the same patio. Shut your mouth. It blew me away that he thought this. I mean, I lived with him for 18 years.
That's a while.
Yeah. But this was living with him alone. Now, my parents obviously thought it was great that their children could live together and look out for each other. Other people I talked to told me it was cool that I got to live with him at college. My boyfriend insists that they were just saying that because what else are they going to say? They're not going to call it weird to your face. I dare anyone to call it weird to my face.
Fight you.
I dare you. One quote was, I mean, you even share a bathroom with him. I dare you to call it weird to my face.
Sophia and I do share a bathroom.
And it's the most wholesome thing ever.
Except when she takes a 10-hour oat bath.
I had to take an oatmeal bath. I had hives.
They do this to each other. Hey, I need to get in there right now. I gotta go. I'm planning to leave. Hey, I gotta get in there right now. I got plans right now. I gotta go. You're always in there whenever I need to go. You're always in there when I need to go.
That's true.
Well, yes, as did I at home when we both lived with my parents. That's also true for us. We had a Jack and Jill bathroom.
It's true.
Is
we
this
still have a
us?
Jack and Jill bathroom.
No, Jack and Jill bathroom is when
we have
I
two
think
sinks.
that's true, but I'm pretty sure it's when you have connected.
Oh, well, it's not connected.
Yeah. I really don't get why this is strange. He also says that he mentioned to other people that I live with my brother, and supposedly they thought that was really weird. And it isn't like, oh, that's weird, but whatever. He thinks it's really weird. I feel like my opinion that it's completely not weird is totally crazy because he is so passionate about his side. And I'm just like, what? Are you serious?
Dude, get off. What you say about my brother?
That's not straight. That's my brother.
Yeah.
What's what?
If you put your paws on my brother, you'll
those
get the
are
jaws of my brother.
Those are the laws for my brother.
That says I say so.
I say so. Anyway, so I want other people's opinions. Edit. He says.
Wait. Before we go into the edit.
Yeah. What's your opinion?
What's your opinion?
What's your opinion?
What's your
Sam?
opinion? Well,
my opinion is that guy can shut his mouth.
Yeah, that boyfriend should shut his dumb mouth.
I'm gonna
because
say it.
It is not weird to live with your
It's
sister.
not. I'm gonna swear
I
right
know
now.
someone who lives with their sister.
Bleep me.
And they're so cool.
Bleep me right now.
Bleep
Ready?
'em, bleep 'em.
Kids, close your ears. Give you a moment. You can shut your mouth.
I think I got it.
Dude, this guy's crazy. This guy's crazy. What do you mean it's weird? Why is it weird? Why does he think it's weird? Give me one good reason that's not going to make you sound like a creep. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't clock ya.
Yeah, clock and sock ya. Pick you up and drop ya.
There's an edit. He says everyone he talked to says it's weird. I say Reddit doesn't. He refuses to tell me who says it's weird because it's just him. Why?
Why? Tell me why.
Tell me why.
I never want to hear you say, I don't want you to live with your brother that way.
Which is my main problem with this right now. Resolved. Oh.
Oh, I've never seen a resolve.
Resolved.
Resolved. We have done it.
Okay.
Cool. I guess we don't got to read it.
Cool. The unfortunate thing is that things eat me up until I address them. So I was texting him about all of this, but we both got home from work, discussed it. A lot of things were said, but we've resolved this issue and are moving on. He even told me everyone who agreed with him, except for one person who apparently asked that he didn't tell me. So that's not an issue anymore either. Thanks for your input. This is not over. This is not resolved. And there are relevant comments. We're not even halfway through the story.
There is a brother-boyfriend rivalry.
There's a
blood
goodness.
over love.
Dude, if I had a partner who ever said, who was like, it's kind of weird that you live with your brother, I'd break up with him on the spot.
And then I'd set my brother on him.
Yeah, and I'd say, get him, Sam, get him.
And I'd wear my face mask too.
Yeah.
So they couldn't punch you in the nose. Yeah.
They ain't gonna get you.
They ain't gonna get me. I'll just yeet them with my little face mask.
Skin the Sun says, I think he's making up that other people think it's weird. OP says, he said like 6 people said it's weird. Oh my gosh, 6 people?
How many people think it's weird in this chat?
Yeah, none. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Who?
Better be none.
Yeah. We'll throw you out. We will ban you from this chat.
We'll ban you from the chat. Babe, I held a survey and like 1 million people think it's weird. What? Well, we just held a poll.
No.
About Sam's mustache, but I really think he's making it up. I think it's a little weird that he thinks it's weird. OP says, he's saying there are people I know, so he doesn't want to tell me who. I asked if it's to protect me or them, and he said them. I told him about this post, and he said people who browse Reddit are also like weirdos and not like normal people in society.
Get out of here. Fight me.
This will be Sam right here.
Yeah.
If you try to fight him.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a few screws missing to be a Redditor and like the content and maintain his position. You're about to have few screws missing, buddy. Zizzy Moo says your boyfriend is jealous of your brother.
Click right now.
Yeah.
You're messing with my click.
You're messing with the you want the bear, you get the paws.
You get the bear paws. If you want the whole bear, you get that bear and more.
Yeah.
You get mama bear and baby bear.
All the bears.
You get all you can't bear that
Goldilocks.
many bears.
You get all the bears.
When the
Three
bear
bears,
bears, 3 bears is a crowd,
Mhm.
and that crowd doesn't like you.
Zizzy Moo says your boyfriend is jealous of your brother. Did you hear me? Your boyfriend is jealous of your brother. He doesn't see your brother as, well, your brother. He sees your brother as a man, a rival. That is why he's making up people out of thin air who supposedly insist this is weird. That is why you don't know anyone else who thinks it's weird. That is why he's even got an excuse for why people are supposedly lying to you about it not being weird. Because he's jealous. Because he's suspicious of your brother.
Your brother. Weirdo.
Mentally healthy people do not see a partner's siblings as rivals. But your boyfriend does. That should tell you something. It should tell you that it's time to find a new boyfriend. One who isn't imagining some sordid, terrible relationship between you and your brother. OP says, well, here's the thing. He did used to be jealous and thought that our relationship itself was weird. My brother can be physical, but all non-spicily. Playful pushing sort of things, not really caring about grabbing my arm, hand on shoulder, stuff like that. And what's wrong with that?
What?
What's these?
A brother and sister can't hug?
A brother and sister can't hug. What is the world coming to? This is literally our relationship, and it makes me angry that he's commenting on it.
Yeah.
It makes me angry.
We're throwing this boy out.
Out of here. My boyfriend thought that was really effing weird. Well, he still does. Did no one hug you? Were you not hugged as a child?
Obviously not.
Boo-hoo. Go cry in a hole. I said cry, to be clear. And really thought there was a spicy related element to it. There isn't.
That's crazy.
I'm
You've
sorry.
been watching too much Game of Thrones, sir.
I also want to say, like, if he thought that you and your brother had anything spicy going on at all,
and you still wanted to
and
date?
he still wanted to date you?
That's weird.
That's weird. That's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, if that truly was what he thought,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Boyfriend's a weirdo.
Crazy hentai you can watch these days, man.
he would get angry, jealous if I even talked to my brother, laughed at his jokes, anything.
Oh my God.
This had been better, but I think it's more just that he isn't vocalizing it as much, which I really do appreciate. What do you mean?
Dude, this is a red flag. You should
Dude,
drop
this is a
nerd.
giant red flag. Oh my God. But like recently he was somewhere, so my brother and I were just home and I got a chance to really have a conversation with my brother for a change. My boyfriend came home and asked if we talked. I told him we did, and he said he was glad to hear that we had a chance to. But then later that night we ended up drinking a bit and he said, okay, I have to admit, I really want to know what you two were talking about.
All
He
right.
swears it's just an objective living with your brother is weird thing now, though, and that it doesn't have anything to do with his jealousy. I'm not breaking up with him. Why not? It's honestly not a huge issue. Yes,
It is. He's trying to control
He
you.
thinks you're having spicy stuff with your brother.
With your brother.
That's disgusting.
He's a weirdo.
He's a freak and a weirdo.
He's a freaky weirdo. That should cry in a hole.
Yes. More of something that I wanted to get others' opinions on because we have such drastically different views and are both so firm in them. We hadn't been arguing about this or anything. I literally just recently thought posting on Reddit would be a good idea to get an unbiased view. He's great in most other ways, and the good outweighs any disagreements we have by far. I think he's certainly mentally healthy. He's just got a strange view on this specifically.
This is weird.
This is so weird. And in fact, he puts up with a lot of crap on my end too, so I give him that. Stop giving him things. What crap does he put up? Oh, you forgot to put the dishes in the dishwasher?
He puts up the crap, like living with my brother.
Yeah, he's like, oh, and he puts up with me like living with my brother, so, he's an angel.
This is weird. This is weird. I feel like this is a red flag. I feel
Giant red flag.
him trying to distance you from someone who you're really close with is maybe just the tip of the iceberg of the kind of isolation that he's trying to get you to.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like, if this was just your friend that you were living with, probably would do the same thing, but could go even further.
Yeah.
Could convince you that this is not okay.
Yeah.
But because it's your brother, that's enough of like, obviously.
And like, he's not going to let you have any male friendships. If he's this crazy about your brother, imagine what he would be like if you had any kind of male friend.
Exactly.
Or like he meets your parents. He's like, dude, your dad complete.
Yeah, your dad like hugged
weird.
you. That
yeah,
was
dude,
so
that's
weird.
so weird.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, kind of gross.
So yeah, and also like,
I'm your daddy.
you know, like when he has a kid, like I feel like there are sometimes like really weird dads who are like, I can't take care of my my female baby. That's like weird. Like that's like a thing.
That's a thing.
It's a thing, and I feel like that's his energy.
Yeah, dude. I feel like OP is downplaying I think this is a small manifestation
Yeah,
of a
huge.
large problem.
I think it's a glaring problem.
But like it's kind of like you have a building that's laying a little bit to the side.
yeah,
It's just like a tiny little bit. It doesn't look that bad, but the foundation is rotted and it's about to fall. Like that's what it is. It's like a small thing on the surface. It's like, oh, he just doesn't like my boyfriend, a little jealous. But I think that is again tip of the iceberg, and there's so much just weirdness below the surface.
mm-hmm.
I think if you don't have like conversations without it, or if you don't just get past it, it's got to be difficult to have this guy in your life and have any kind of male relationship.
I agree. And also, but the thing is, like, I also think that she keeps saying, yeah, we had conversations and he's agreed to, like, you know, he just stopped mentioning blah, blah, blah. He's still thinking it. And I think the fact that he's still thinking it is disgusting.
Yeah, dude, this is wild. This is wild.
5 years later, pretty much, I made that post about my boyfriend thinking it was
whoa. 5 years later?
5 years later. I hope they're
Oh
broken
my
up.
God.
I hope
So
they're broken
we
up.
might, yeah. What do you think? Broken up or not?
I hope they're broken up.
I think they should be broken up.
Pretty much, I made that post about my boyfriend thinking it was very weird that I live with my brother at a point where my boyfriend and I had been dating for a few months, shy of a year. If that was after a few months, I'd be like, get out. 1 month after I made that post, my brother ended up moving out anyway, and my boyfriend and I moved to another apartment. All planned and just a matter of the lease ending. So the situation has mostly resolved itself. However, let me tell you, holy crap. I wish I would have taken the advice given to me in this post.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Ooh, and I cringed reading through this 5-year-old post because a lot of the comments were so true, and I should have just left. I put up with this crap for a total of 4 years before he broke up with me for good. We actually broke up about 10 to 12 different times that lasted anywhere from a few hours to a couple of weeks.
10 to 12 times? I thought I was bad.
Ugh. What?
Breaking up with someone twice.
Oh, that's true. You did.
No.
Yeah.
Twice?
I think it was more than twice because I remember it was at a point, this is Sam's ex. It was at a point where mom would call me and say, "Oh, can you like call Sam? You know, he's really upset about the breakup." And I was like, "They're back together?"
I think it was twice.
I couldn't even keep up.
It was 3. It
It was
was
3 times.
it was 3 times, but it was one final time.
The entire time he was definitely jealous of my brother. Pretty much, he ended up admitting that my brother was a guy who commanded a room. People always looking to him like he's sort of a leader in his friend group and making people laugh.
Wait. Who do they call the group leader at the friend groups? Group leader? You have to ask the group leader for permission to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what was the dark humor?
I think it was a college in the chat.
Okay. That was the type of person my now ex-boyfriend wanted to be. So he hated that my brother was that. In fits of rage, even in a completely unrelated argument, he would randomly be like, "I bet you effed your brother." So much crap coming from him, but I think that the combination of he and I in a relationship together was just incredibly toxic. It made it so hard for me to be able to think about things rationally. If anyone said that to me, they're gone. They're gone.
Oh my
That's
God.
disgusting. That's literally disgusting. If someone ever
I can't
said
believe she
that to me.
stayed with him for so long after getting all this
After
advice.
hearing that?
I mean, I'm glad that she's finally out of it, but man, like
Wow.
I think we saw this in the first post for a while.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh, no, you guys don't get it. We talked. He agreed, blah, blah, blah." He never dropped that line of thinking.
Yeah.
There was a comment in my original post about someone wishing I could see the situation from the outside, and looking back at the post, I feel like I finally am, and it's just cringeworthy. Someone had messaged me a list of signs of a harmful relationship, and looking back, he definitely checks off most of those. I had said that he rarely lies to me, but in retrospect, our relationship was full of lies. Some major ones that I recall from before I made that post, so I'm not sure if I was lying to myself then or what. By the way, don't lie to yourself about how many full episodes of stories just like this we have. All you have to do is go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio to find out the truth. Just search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I think we called it in the beginning. I'm glad that OP ended this relationship, but geez Louise.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If anyone thinks that your relationship with your sibling is weird.
Unless it is weird. I mean,
Unless it is weird. Some people have weird relationships with their siblings.
Yeah. Some people have weird relationships,
but this isn't normal affection is weird.
Yeah, like giving people hugs and living with their sibling is not weird.
No.
It's actually super sick.
It's actually so cool.
It's so cool.
And they're jealous.
Yeah, they're jealous. Sophia and I watched Rick and Morty the other day. It was awesome.
But I think at the end of the day, I'm glad you got out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And be aware of those signs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a much better place now and have a new boyfriend for about 2 years. Does he like your brother? I think the takeaway here and why I wanted to post an update is for people perhaps in a similar situation, regardless of what it might be about, to consider. If your SO is absolutely ridiculous when it comes to something, don't expect it to be okay just because you can maybe avoid that topic in the future. It's possible that it will still come up, and it's very likely that this isn't a red flag to ignore just because it's easy to ignore. It's still a raging red flag and has a lot of implications for your relationship in the future. Relevant comments, Vital to Life says, hope your ex didn't do anything to damage your relationship with your brother. It sounds like you're both people who care immensely about each other, and I hope you're still close. OP says, nope, but probably because my brother was understanding and realized how manipulative he was. At one point, my ex forced me to ask him to move out in a it's either him or me type of move, and I did. But my brother didn't exactly have anywhere to go mid-semester. I think this is when that was that whole situation. Yeah. I apologized to my brother about that later and explained to him, and he said it was all good. What bothered him the most was that we never hung out anymore.
Aww.
And how is the brother doing? He's good as well, was very forgiving of the situation, and pretty much saw through everything and always knew how crappy the guy was. So he was honestly relieved when we broke up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But folks, that's the end of that story.
I let my homeless friend move into my house. Now I want them out.
Time's up. Sorry, man.
This came from our subreddit.
Whoa.
This is one of you.
Whoa.
Direct from the subreddit.
Oh, my goodness.
So, my partner Frank, 34 male, and I, 33 female, have had house guests, Ashley and Jay, 30 female and 27 male, respectively, since April. And I don't know if we're actually helping them get back on their feet or enabling them to not get their crap together. By the way, this comes from user throwaway Ash and Jay, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I've known Ashley for a decade. We were co-workers at a biotech. We did not interact often, despite it being a small company, but when we did, it was friendly and positive. We were both on the company softball team, but never got much closer than friendly acquaintanceship, despite getting along. In 2020, Ashley got a new position within the same company, and we no longer had such interaction. In 2022, I left the company. We kept up with each other on socials. I mostly am a lurker, so I knew she left the company to move to the West Coast with her boyfriend Jay to pursue an artistic career. I heard they got married and sent a card and a gift. Apparently, the West Coast dream was not as easy to achieve as imagined, and within about a year of them moving there, they were struggling to make ends meet. They decided to leave the West Coast and move near family for help. The family was not helpful, and jobs were scarce. So they wound up back in the Midwest, couch surfing at an old buddy's house around January 2025. Ashley got a full-time job. Jay was looking for jobs for months, but struggling largely because of a criminal charge when he was 18, 19. Jay does have some income from teaching photo editing software skill classes over video chat 2 to 8 hours a week. In late March, things went south with the crash pad. I, unaware, saw Ashley was back in town from a social media post about her new job. The company has a distinctive regional name. I reached out to her to catch up. A couple days later, she responded that she and Jay were mostly doing well, but they were going to be living in their car for the foreseeable future. Jay was gathering all of their things from the buddy's apartment and throwing them in the car as we spoke while she was working. This happened to be a day with tornadoes in the forecast. Lots of storms were predicted all week long. Them trying to ride out multiple severe storms in a car didn't sit right with me. So I called Frank and asked him if Ashley and Jay, who we had never met, could stay at ours for the week while the storms rolled through. Frank agreed, and they came over. Having them around for a few days didn't totally suck. So at the end of the week, we told them they could stay through April for free to save up for first and last month's rent at their own place. So you've given them terms. Say you're out of here by April. You go okay.
Yeah.
That's
There's
that.
Bit of a limit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes sometimes.
I also found resources for them to get on Medicaid and SNAP benefits. While we were happy to feed them, they have different dietary preferences than Frank and I. After a week or two, they came to us and said they'd been looking at their budget and asked if we would be okay with them staying longer, 3 to 4 months in total, which would be moving out in July and August. That way they would have more time to save up for a couple months of rent and a deposit on a new place, and also a little emergency fund. Frank and I discussed and said yes. They're fairly decent as housemates, tidy, fairly quiet, conscious of sharing common spaces. We've definitely had much worse. Jay found a job in early May, but the hours were nearly opposite of Ashley's, and after a couple weeks of them juggling rides with one car between them, he told me while I was giving him a ride to work that he was getting pretty depressed about only seeing his wife when sleeping, driving to and from work, and half an hour in the morning before her shift. He wanted to quit his job over it and cried because he was so upset. I told him to start looking for a job with hours more in line with Ashley's, but he shouldn't quit his job until he had something else lined up. I also told him to give it a while, as starting a new job is always an adjustment, and if he really couldn't deal with it, he'd only have 2 weeks after turning in his notice, less than 10 shifts because he was part-time, to get through. He ignored me and quit his job the same day.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. He didn't turn in his notice. He quit mid-shift and walked out. He failed to mention this until about a week later when asked directly when his next shift was. He started hustling to get more software training clients in the meantime. In late May, Ashley's job was starting to get to her in terms of physical demands. She pulled some muscles working out with Jay. The two of them had been doing a 60-day workout plan since a couple days after they moved in, and between that and work, she was starting to feel pretty beaten up. I gave her the same advice I gave Jay. Start looking for a new job, and once you find one that's a better fit, put in your 2 weeks. In early June, Frank and I purchased a used car, but didn't trade in the old one as we planned to sell it to a grad student at the university I work at for $500 instead. It's reliable, but has 180,000 miles on it, smells funny, and doesn't have a stereo. Jay got another job starting Juneteenth. We told Ashley and Jay before we departed for work that since we haven't sold Frank's old beater, they could use it until we found a buyer so they could both get to work. I worked a half day on Juneteenth. When I got home, Ashley was there. I asked if she was okay since she normally worked Thursdays, and she told me that Tuesday was her last day at her job. She had turned in her notice almost 3 weeks beforehand. Notably, Jay had interviewed for his new job on Tuesday, which means for nearly 3 weeks they had planned to both be unemployed and hadn't mentioned it to Frank and I. I was livid, but excused myself to take a shower. Later that day, once Jay returned from his first shift, I asked Ashley and Jay why Frank and I had been left out of the loop regarding their employment status. They'd both assumed the other had let one of us know. I wasn't sure if I bought it, but dropped it because I was angry and didn't want to be cruel. After taking Friday to cool off and discuss with Frank, we called a house meeting on Saturday to ask them what had been going on, why the heck they hadn't told us, and if they were still on track to move out as planned with the loss of income. They said things were rough, seemed to be getting better, apologized, and admitted it wasn't cool to not tell us about it, and reiterated that they had intended to inform us and said that they would be moving out by August 15th for sure, as Jay's new job was more than enough to replace Ashley's income, and Ashley was also looking for a less physically demanding job. The following Tuesday, Jay got fired from his new job. They didn't tell us. So let's talk, huh?
Yeah. Recap on the job status here.
Myra in the chat says,
Yeah.
be cruel.
Yeah.
It's not even cruelty anymore. It's like, okay, so remember how we agreed you'd be saving up your money from
Yeah.
your job so you could move out? Why are you both quitting your jobs without telling us?
What's going
Like,
on with that?
You're going to have to move back in with the fam. You're going to have to do something because this is not sustainable.
Yeah.
This started as, I don't want you to sleep in your car while we're being pummeled by tornadoes.
Right.
Now it's, you guys can both be unemployed and live in our house.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, he got fired from this job, right? Somewhat out of his control. Like,
I doubt it. Given what he did before, I bet you he got fired for a great reason, and it was his fault.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, maybe he wasn't expecting it. There probably was something that he could do to prevent it, for sure. But then the fact that he quit his other job, right? Because this was like
quit
a
that
software
first job because he's like, I never see my
yeah,
wife.
stupid. And he quit it in the worst way, too. Like, he didn't just give it in 2 weeks of like, hey, I had another opportunity or whatever. This isn't quite right now. He was just like, bye, walked out in the middle of his shift. That's not a job that you can just get back, you know?
Like, living in someone else's home for free out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be out here being like, It's like,
Yeah.
you got to cowboy up. You can't be like, but this I don't see my wife. It's like, well, you got to take the money that you're making from this job and use this as fuel and motivation so that you can get a job where you do see your wife.
Right, because, there's like survival needs as well.
Right.
Right? I mean, like, sorry you miss your wife, but you need a home, and this one is not one that you can take.
Yes. The following Tuesday, Jay was fired from his new job, and they didn't tell us. I knew he was supposed to work, noticed he didn't go in, and asked him about it. He then told me he'd been fired 5 days ago, 3 days after we'd had our discussion. That pretty much sealed Frank and I on no longer trusting them fully. It feels very disrespectful to ignore the conversation we had a few days before and hide his lack of employment from us. I understand not telling us immediately. I'm sure it was not a great day, but waiting until directly confronted? Wednesday of last week, the day before Frank and I left for a road trip to visit family, I got a message asking me to pick them up from a car dealership about 45 minutes away. There's no way these goobers just got an auto loan. There's no way, right?
Hopefully. Hopefully.
They had taken their car up to trade it in and buy something more fuel efficient, only to be informed that their suspension was fully destroyed and their tires had wires showing. The dealership guy begged them not to drive it home. He was worried they would get in an accident because it was so bad. They called the tow truck and I picked them up. They thanked me, saying they couldn't afford the Uber. Their undrivable car is now parked outside our house, and despite me asking them multiple times in the following week whether they've got plans to take it to the shop, they're a bit evasive, but think it will be $2,000 to $3,000. While we were out of town, they used Frank's old car to get around. Shortly after we arrived back in town, Frank's new car blew a tire, which led us to discover that the suspension on the new car is apparently shot. It's still under warranty, but the shop is delayed, so we've been down a car to let Jay and Ashley use Frank's old car to get to job interviews on Tuesday and Thursday. Good news is they both got jobs and they start on Monday. Okay, by the way, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day that ends in Y, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform. Just search OK Storytime and you've got our whole archive in the palm of your hand.
And it's a big guy. Our archive is crazy big.
He's a big guy, but he will fit in your phone.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
exactly.
So we have a little bit more
Dang.
story here.
The tires had wires showing?
So yeah, that's called cords.
Okay.
Tires, when they wear out all the way, that's a structural component of the actual tire. If that's showing through, your tires are about to blow out.
Okay, got it.
So it's like, I mean, the guy at the dealership could have had them sign a waiver that like released them of any liability, but like good for that guy to be like, you guys cannot drive this. Like,
yeah. Just looking out for their lives.
Like, I can get a piece of paper that will let you leave, but like, you should not do that because I'm worried for your actual lives.
yeah.
Good for that guy.
I'm wondering how they just both got jobs and are both going to start on Monday.
Yeah,
How'd they
like-
do that?
I mean, well, there is like a lot of jobs out there right now,
Yeah.
but it's like,
With these two clowns, it doesn't seem very possible, but hopefully it is. Hopefully they can get some money and pay for that car or something.
yesterday, I was talking to someone at work and they mentioned their rent. It seemed high, so I started looking at rent in our area. Most studios and one-bedroom apartments are $900 to $1,200 a month, even in questionable areas. I don't think they're going to move out by August 15th anymore. There's no way that they have enough for a deposit and first and last month's rent. We've had to cancel our plans to rent out the spare room to a grad student as the new semester starts in mid-August, and there's no way we'll be able to find a tenant even if they are moved out. We've given Jay and Ashley 3.5 months of free rent, fed them regularly, let them borrow our car, etc., hoping to help them get back on their feet. But at this point, it feels like we might not be helping so much as enabling. I don't know where to draw the line and say we just can't do anything more for them. I don't know if I can exile them. They would be fully homeless. I'm not even sure they can live in their car safely at this point. Having been homeless myself for a while in college, I don't know if I can in good conscience resign them to that situation. What should we do? Any advice would be appreciated. Well, first of all, you're not resigning them to that situation because you're not the one who made them quit their jobs and get fired.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where it's like, even if they were doing what they could to like move out and it was still taking this long, and like even if they were kind of trustworthy, I mean, and this is different for every situation, but like spoiled people, I mean, especially kids, but that's different. So maybe this isn't like perfect for this situation, but spoiled people don't just like happen like that. Like, they have to be spoiled to be spoiled. You know what I mean? So not that it would, like, be your fault, but, like, it's kind of inevitable. Like, even if they were super grateful, even if they contributed and you were still giving them this stuff, after a certain amount of time, they're going to get used to that. Whether it's, like, you know, conscious or not, or whether they think that that's right or not. Like, they're still going to be in the back of their mind, like, okay, but, like, we'll be fine.
My friend stood me up multiple times already, so I stopped showing up.
Stop.
The current situation. I met my best friend, let's call her Peregrine, on Bumble BFF during the pandemic lockdowns of 2020.
Oh, Lord of the Rings name. Peregrine took. Ah! Okay.
Because of that, I'm going to call her Perry for short. Perry was having her party yesterday, Sunday, September 15th. She sent out invites at the end of August, and there was a dress code theme that matched the venue of the restaurant we would all be eating at. By the way, this comes from user OlympiasBurner on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, it was a pretty specific dress code and not within my normal princess aesthetic. So I had to go to 5 different thrift stores over the past 2 weeks to get everything for my outfit. I texted her 2 days before the party when I found the last piece of my outfit about what an adventure it was finding everything, and I was curious to see everyone else's outfits. I didn't get a response. I texted her the morning of the party around 10 a.m. about how excited I was to see her and catch up. I left my place to carry on with the rest of my plans for the day and had to take my party outfit with me. Because of how long the bus ride is, I wouldn't have time to come back home and change. All throughout the day, she never texted me back. I started on my way to her party at 3:50 and texted her I would be a few minutes late due to the bus. The party was starting at 6. I rode over 2 hours on the bus in rush hour traffic and showed up to the restaurant at 6:09 in my ridiculous outfit. The hostess gave me a weird look and said, "Table for one?" I said, "No, I'm here for the reservation for Perry at 6 p.m. I assumed it would be implied that I would be with the group that was in similar ridiculous outfits. She tapped away on her iPad and said, "Oh, the only reservation for Perry was canceled." Oh.
Come on, Perry.
I was like, "Oh, okay," and called Perry to figure out what was going on. The phone rang and went to voicemail. I texted her saying I was at the restaurant and they were saying her reservation was canceled. I waited a few minutes for a response, then tried calling her back again. But same thing. It just rang until I got her voicemail.
Wow. So in this situation, I'm either really nervous because I'm nervous for my friend. What's going on? Is everyone okay? Or I'm just like viciously angry.
I'm confused. That's my take. I'm very confused. I'm like, what is going on?
Anyone who's standing you up like this is clearly not your friend. That's the only thing I need to know.
I was getting really anxious and catastrophizing because I hadn't heard from her and I was worried that I had missed the signs and something was seriously wrong. About halfway through my bus ride home, she messaged me on Snapchat saying, "Hey, sorry I missed your call. I was asleep. I texted you about the party being canceled and didn't notice that you never saw it." Then she inserts a screenshot of a message she sent to my throwaway Instagram account that I literally never use, not the one we normally communicate on, and I check every day.
She said, "Oops, I sent you a message.
Oops. She had the audacity to message you on Snapchat and not call you back, nor message you back.
Yeah, which is like, you were not asleep. I don't believe you.
I was just so exhausted in that moment. I sent a thumbs up reaction and all good. I'm on the bus now, headed home. She continued to blow up my phone the whole rest of my bus ride, and I was honestly just really mad. I got home at 8:17 p.m., tired and starving, and when I was a bit more calm, I read her messages. She said there was some event happening downtown tomorrow, not today, Monday the 16th, that she wanted to go with me and a couple other friends. I said sure, and asked what time everyone was going, and she said she would get back to me. I was expecting a response that same day, but instead I got a text from her at 11:17 the day of, saying they were going to be there at noon.
Plenty of time.
I was instantly pissed again because it's about a 1-hour bus ride downtown. So this isn't enough notice for me to get there on time unless it's a $25 to $30 Uber, which I can't afford. And again, I wasn't planning on doing that. I have a feeling that she forgot to text me back until she was on the bus and on the way herself. I responded saying I would not be there. Her birthday party has been rescheduled to next weekend, and I'm not really interested in going or doing anything with her until she gets her act together. I'm not sure if a conversation would be productive, and I don't want her to feel like I'm judging or attacking her for having mental health issues. At this point, I'm so exhausted, I kind of want to just cut her off and move on. We have a background. Due to the global situation at the time we met, we mostly texted, video chatted, etc. to stay in touch through regular phone or through Snapchat, and we sent memes back and forth on Instagram. As the year went on and restrictions were lifted, we had trouble finding the time to meet up in person. We were both in uni at the time, but went to different schools, so we live on opposite ends of the city. We both rely on public transportation, which is really inefficient in our city, and Ubers, which are pretty expensive. It would be about a 2.5-hour bus ride or about a $60 Uber for us to get to each other's neighborhoods. That sucks. While trying to find the time for our first meetup, she opened up more about struggling with her mental health and how she may go for extended periods of time without responding and then pick up again out of the blue. I was very understanding because I can also be like that due to my own mental health and neurodivergence. It has happened countless times where we will make plans and Perry cancels at the last minute or with very short notice, so we only met for the first time in person in 2022. 2 years into our friendship.
What? I mean, I guess, okay.
Doesn't sound like a friendship. It sounds like a ship that's about to sail. Once that first meeting was out of the way, she was a little bit better at sticking to plans, and we were able to hang out at least once a month. But you know what I would like for you guys to do is to hang out with us every day at 3 p.m. PST. Just, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok. Just tap our profile.
We might even be live right now, depending on if you're watching this in the future, which you definitely are, because this isn't live. But before you go and check on that, let's finish our thoughts here. Because, I've had, quasi, sort of parasocial relationships with people online, playing video games. But, 2 years to have never met someone you call a friend in person is, that's kind of wild.
Especially when you're literally 2 hours by bus is a lot, but $60 Uber, again, a lot. So I get it. But you guys are within the same city. You guys can have a midway point.
Well, it sounds like she's at a point in her life and I think a lot of young people can relate to this, where it's you go through a phase where it's every, possible phone call is just an anxiety trigger. And you kind of go reclusive, you stay inside. It's just everything. I don't know. Definitely happened to me. I can relate to being oh, I was asleep. I wasn't asleep. I'm sorry. Or oh, I wasn't.
That's
Honestly,
what you did with me?
The root of it though, I feel just comes from it's nothing to do with OP. It's just Perry's got her own stuff she's working through. She doesn't think she's good enough to hang, probably. Or
I don't know.
Potentially, I don't know.
I don't like Perry because what she's doing is selfish. Like I said earlier, she took everyone's time. And she's like, yeah, I'll take your time and your stress. You stayed on that bus OP for, 2 hours or an hour and a half to get there, and then you got to go back. You could be doing something so much more productive. And you got embarrassed because you went there by yourself, and you're like, I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. You took all that time to get ready.
The fact that Perry didn't apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was hey, I messaged you.
Well, again, all this circles back into exactly what you just said, which is Perry's being selfish. And it's it's selfish behavior to sort of seclude yourself off, insulate yourself from your friends, if you or just ghost people and just kind of fall off the face of the earth and then just come back. And then you don't have to deal with anything else that was going on at that time because you're only just dealing with yourself.
And that's what Perry's doing.
Yeah.
And she doesn't take anyone else into account for, and that's selfish.
It is selfish.
That's rude.
It doesn't necessarily make her a bad person. She's just going through a point in her life right now where she's very self-centered.
Yeah, and communication is very hard for her. So you got to call her out on it and be hey.
I would bet every single dollar that I have to my name that they are in their late teens, early 20s. Every last dollar. Every one of them.
No age demographic.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say young.
They are late teens, early 20s, or I am completely at $0 in my bank account.
But I would cut contact. I would call her out and communicate, hey, what you're doing to me, you're probably doing to more people. You need to stop it or you're going to have no friends.
What do we always keep coming back to today?
Smile.
Communication. You got to voice your opinions about people's behavior if it's impacting you.
Especially if they're your friends. If they're a stranger,
Right.
That's
There's
one
nothing you
thing.
can do about a stranger. Why would you even care?
but if you
they're not
care
in your
about your
life?
friends, let them freaking know.
Anybody who's in your life.
Let's get back to it. As time has gone, she's gotten less responsive over text and we see each other less frequently. The last time I saw her was in July when I bumped into her at the nail salon downtown because we both happened to have appointments around the same time. The last time I saw her intentionally was in January. Additional note, my birthday was in February and she didn't respond to my invitation, show up, or even wish me a happy birthday at any point. And you know what? That's not your friend. She doesn't care.
That's not your friend. That's not your friend. That's not your
That's not your friend.
No. She's not your friend. She's not your friend. She's not your
OP, move on. You don't need her. She shows no interest in you. It's very obvious. If she's going through her mental issues, that's one thing. But if she's not doing it with you, like wanting your help, let her do her own thing. She doesn't need you. You don't need her. Easy.
My sisters didn't know I owned the home they've been renting, and now they've lost it.
They said, oh, we don't know where we put it. I'm sorry.
I, 33 female, bought my home right before the pandemic. The world shut down, and I shut into my remote work with the solitude and comfort of a natural introvert. The house was extra large, and I could really only afford it because the family selling it was in need of a quick sell. By the way, this comes from Brave Company 28, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the house has a finished attic and basement, which were easily converted into not so many apartments. The basement has its own entry point and also connects into the main house. There are 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. The master room has a walk-in closet. During the pandemic, my sisters both hit hard and quickly needed to downsize as their own roommates moved back home. My sisters, 25 female and 27, and I do not have such a luxury. So I offered them rooms at below market rate and told them they would need to supply their own foods. The rent was really to help with the increase in bills. They both were in school at the time, but also working. This arrangement gave them more breathing room financially. Then a girl they both knew was evicted from her home with her boyfriend because the family they rented from needed the home back. After I offered the basement at near market rate, though still a little under, as I felt bad, and it's a basement apartment. After that, a friend of a friend heard about my arrangement and asked if there was any room left. I gave them the attic apartment for another near rent market. Dang, she's got full occupancy here. Rental agreements were drafted up for each person. I explained the basic rules, the rent, how long they would have it if rent was not received. I told them to read it and return it to me when signed. I left them each with their own copy. I collected the rent the first Saturday of each month. They leave the name blank on the checks for me to fill out, and I always thought it was because they were afraid of misspelling my stupidly unique name and having the check bounce as a result. Apparently not. The issue is, I still have one free room in the main part of the house, but I use that as my office and it locks up. My friend knows my sisters, and they got to chatting up while out together. They bumped into each other during a day out. My sisters mentioned the extra room, and my friend has a cousin, 18 female, who will be starting college in our city, and asked my landlord would rent it out to her. I brushed over the comment because I thought there was a miscommunication and told her the room wasn't for rent as I used it for my at-home office. She asked if I was paying for the room, and I told her why I would pay for a room in a house I own. So the sisters don't know she owns it. She got quiet and apologized for pushing it and told me the struggle it's been to find a spot for her cousin. I told her all of my tenants are solid until December when the renewals go out. I can offer her a spot if someone moves, but I stressed it was unlikely as everyone gets along and stays out of each other's business, and it works well for them. We dropped the topic. A few days ago, my sisters asked me how the talk went, and I said it was okay, but her cousin won't be moving in. They asked why. I explained to them the situation above. They suggested I move my office to my bedroom or the main room and stop paying rent for an extra room to save costs. When I asked them what they meant, They said, well, you do pay rent for the extra space, right? They don't even know. How do you have a house? If my sibling had a house and I didn't know about it, I'm a terrible sibling, right?
I don't know how close I would keep that kind of information to
Your
the
cousin.
vest.
Your cousin. If your cousin got a house
I
and you
have
didn't know it,
no knowledge of my cousin's home ownership.
I hate asking him about family. This is like, man.
I'd find it weird if I didn't know you bought a house,
Okay,
right? Or
well,
like
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
here. Like if I didn't find out any of y'all bought a house, I'd be like, how did I not know this?
A good example is like the settlement I got. Like, I'm not telling everybody, but I'm like, all right, hey, guess what? I have to tell you this news.
Yeah, like how do you not know if someone has a house?
Yeah, it's like
sibling.
it's
What?
very
Because
weird.
they never invite me over? I don't know.
That's
That's
very
wild.
Because nobody likes me.
Allie says sometimes you're not meant to know things.
Dang,
don't
I know that's
know.
right.
Okay, so OP is 33 and an introvert, so that probably explains some things. No, I then asked if they knew I was the landlord, and they were floored. They never actually read the agreements they have been signing. They went off on me about how I should have told them and that they shouldn't have been paying rent to family. I told them the rent was to cover their increase in bills. I wasn't going to house them for free when they made enough to cover a fair share and a shared expense. If they would rather full market rent on the rooms they are currently in, I could arrange that come renewal. By now, they could afford it with their jobs, having saved money on rent for 5 years. They called me an a-hole for holding rent above their heads. This then leaked to the tenants as they talked about the issues to their friends in the basement. While their rent is more than just for bills, it is not the market rent value I could get out of the space. Despite them each having income and no family to support, they came to me to ask that I lower the rent, as if being friends with my sisters was reason enough, as I was the landlord and not somebody they didn't actually know. The deal they had no longer seemed to be in their favor, apparently. I told them they had until December to decide if they wanted a renewal, because it wasn't going to be lowered. They are now acting like I am punting them out, when all I said was now that they fully understand their position, they need to make a choice to stay with current costs and annual adjustments as needed, as our agreement, or begin the process of looking as rent prices have skyrocketed and it's much harder to find a place. The adjustments do not include knowing I am the landlord. My attic tenant asked if I was cleaning house and basically begged I don't punt him out. His family turned their back on him because of conflicting views. Personally, his views don't bother me. His family, though, yeesh. I explained it all in detail, and he was like, wait, I always knew you were my landlord because it's in the rental agreement, but he also never put my name down because it's too hard to spell. Who are these fake adults?
It's too hard to spell, dude.
Oh my gosh. Now everyone is upset with me, and I feel unwelcomed in my own house. Am I the a-hole? Would I be the a-hole if I didn't renew or all of their leases because of this hostility? I feel, quick edit, our lives have been a mess of social services and foster care as children, all aging out at 18. I didn't go out of my way to tell them about buying a house, partly out of guilt, and they came to me for leads on places to live in a time of need. The guilt comes from not taking them in when I had the opportunity at 18. I would have had a jump through massive loops, and I did not feel prepared to take care for myself, let alone a couple of kids I hardly knew since we had been separated often. We reconnected when they aged out and built from there. We also do not share the same last names as we have different fathers. So we have an update of who's staying and who's not. Who's going to stay? I'm betting Mr. Attic Man's staying, and one of the sisters finally sees the real and is staying. So I'm saying 2 out of 4.
I think whoever the least problematic roommate is will be staying. And
Dude.
whoever goes, look, I know this is all weird. I'll give you like an extra $300 a month if you just let me stay. Please don't kick me out. I
Please,
want to stay.
please.
I don't care about any of these
Yeah.
people.
Like, if
I
you're-
read my contract.
At this age, if you're in a house that you all vibe at, it's honestly really great. I'm having a hard time here because it's like I live and I work and I party all in the same place. It's just like I literally have not explored LA at all. I just live here. I literally keep my car parked out, and from Wednesday to Sunday, it's not moved. It's there.
Yeah, no, I could not be in your situation because it's so much.
Mr. Attic, I'm keeping him. I pulled him aside first and separately. I told him I would not be renewing the others' leases in
Wait.
December and asked if he would want to rent the basement for at market value.
Dude, you nailed it. Chill attic guy. That was the guy.
We're keeping him. He turned it down, asking to keep the attic as he's comfortable there. I told him it would probably be in his best interest to let the others believe this is a whole house clean out so he doesn't get caught up in the crossfire. He agreed and went out of his way to turn his social media to private. He also sent me screenshots of group chats he's been added to. The group chat, my sisters, other pair of tenants started up a group chat /witch about me being so uncompromising and greedy. They were coming up with ideas not to pay rent or to only pay in part. The basement tenants joked about one of them losing their job so they could ask for leniency since I was too stuck up to be kind to them about the rent. The pestilent my sisters and Mr./Mrs. Basement had told their friends and the families of Mr. and Mrs. Basement about the rent. The lies and my inability to consider outside perspective and need. I have had a steady stream of calls, DMs, texts, and posts directed at me since before I made my last post, which is what prompted me to post. I made my accounts private, disabled some of the messaging functions, and told the 4 of them to get this to stop before I got my lawyer involved. Spoiler, they didn't.
I'm kind of glad because I'd be telling you get your lawyer involved anyway. At this point, dude, where's it going to stop? Come on, dude.
So after taking a night to think about it, I brought the group together to have a discussion about the rent and situation. My sisters looked smugged, and Mr. and Mrs. Basement kept sharing knowing looks. I told them bluntly I was not going to renew their leases in December because of their actions, attitudes, and lack of consideration have made me feel unvalued, humiliated by their family, and unwelcomed in my home. I told them that if they found an apartment or place to go before December, I wouldn't charge them for breaking the lease. But if there was any damage anywhere, they would not get their security deposits back until the pricing out was settled. If there was more damage in their security deposit, they would be taken to court. I told them I was done being kind and understanding to people who thought lowly of me. I also warned them I could and would break the leases myself if I felt the need, in which case they would have 30 days. Putting the foot down.
I don't know what your state's recording laws are for this, but I would probably have this recorded if somebody inevitably foolishly tries to take you to court.
Yeah.
Because they sound like the kind of people who would bring a slam dunk case against themselves to a court and just make you waste your time on it. So,
yeah, it's just crazy that they don't understand what kind of blessing that they have.
Yeah, man, truly.
The reaction? It was immediate chaos. A lot of yelling, insults, and cursing. Even Mr. Attic. But he was yelling at others for getting him punted out when he didn't do anything. He made an epic show of storming out to the attic and slamming the door. He sent me laughing emojis and texted that he wasn't going to be able to keep a straight face a little later.
It's so funny. Attic guy's like, and I can't believe you guys have made me get kicked out too.
And then leaves. Great acting. I waited for them to stop yelling. And when they demanded what they would do, I set a stack of ads for apartments and houses for rent in the nearby area and said they would have to start looking now. I told my sister I would help pay for their moving truck, but told the basement tenants they would have to ask their families for help moving out. Mr. Basement picked up the stack of papers and his eyes went wide. He stared and asked if I was effing serious. I told him the prices listed were not mine to judge, change, or deal with.
Wait a minute. These people made all these complaints and they didn't even look at the real estate market?
They didn't.
These people are certifiable brainless.
I reminded him his current place was below market because I had a say in it. Market prices for one bedrooms in the area are well over $1,500 a month if he wants near his work and close enough to walk to stores and things. He currently has a 2-bedroom for less than that. My sisters grabbed some of the papers and the 24-year-old started crying because she couldn't afford an apartment on her own. She told me about her student loans and credit card debt. I told her, too bad. I gave you a good deal out of kindness and you sent an army after me. I would have considered letting you stay if you hadn't been so nasty. I told all of them they could probably swing a 2-bedroom between the 4 of them and got up and left. They refused to talk to me now. My sister spent the night in the basement apartment, and I could hear shrieks and crying if I walked by the door that leads down there. I feel a little bad, but I reread your comments to keep my sanity. As for what I want out of them, I can give them 30 days notice since they are inside my own home. I check and double checked with the lawyer, and this information had been in their rental contracts. If I do have to punt them out and they try to refuse to leave and drag it out in court, which they don't have the money for, I have been given some handy advice by a fellow landlord who had to remove his own brother. I can't remove them by force, but I can make living there entirely uncomfortable. Nothing stops me from taking doors off hinges or starting remodeling while their stuff is in the way. Nothing stops me from turning off the water or electricity for their sections of the house during remodeling. Quick edit, just for remodeling purposes, it wouldn't be done to make them leave, but they can't stop my remodeling as squatters. It might seem like an a-hole thing to do, but they would be the ones to start it, and I actually want to repaint and do some adjustments.
Yeah, truly one of the most frustrating things ever. And I would fully support if someone is just refusing to leave a place you own for free.
Yeah.
And turn their water off, turn their power off. I don't care.
That's wild. It's so crazy not like seeing what you have. You've taken everything for granted.
Yeah, truly.
And
I
you get
feel like
mad.
they're living in like the apartment from Friends, and they're being like, "This place, we should be paying $100 a month to live here because you know us. Come on." When you don't know that the rent you pay now is less than the rent you'd pay somewhere else, and you're going to complain about it, I don't know. You're not built for living with me. Just trying to think of like where these people are coming from. It's clearly got to be from a very emotional place because it's like, well, I feel like because you were related and like you should be giving this to us for less because it's like, and then I feel like you lied to us because you never told us, but it's like clearly you were told in the rental agreement you didn't read.
And it is a good thing she had all of them sign contracts. Iris Bear, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, this is wild. Okay. The reason I'm leaning on evicting them by August is because the pestilence has gotten much worse now that there is an actual non-renewal happening. I'm leaving my phone on silent and collecting messages, voicemails, emails, and other things to hand off to my lawyer next week. I told them to call off their dogs, and they haven't. I asked Mr. Attic if he knows anyone who would need a place and to let me know. He has a few friends from his community who seem interested, as they either live with roommates or family and want out. If anyone has questions this quiet morning, I will try to answer them. And I have an answer for all of you to go to your favorite freaking podcast platform. Search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and there will be so many questions of why you haven't been listening to our stories.
Why not? Is
Check
it
it
because
out.
you never looked them up? Now you can look them up.
Yeah.
You know where to find them now. I saw a comment in there. I'm not sure from who you're talking about. They have a friend who is in a similar situation. They pay $800 for a 3-bed, 1-bath. And they're like, I can't believe we have to pay rent.
$800? Oh my gosh.
What?
You are not going to do these people any favors by housing them up and letting them live in little make-believe fairy tale land.
Yeah.
Where already getting a good deal for rent is not good enough and you can like demean and bully and like we're kind of trying to intimidate.
Oh yeah.
Because they were
for
like
sure.
getting together. They were like forming a little coalition.
They were asking family members to call them.
Yeah, they're
They
getting
were
the
blah, blah,
harassment
blah, 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 blah.
campaign. They're workshopping ways to screw her over, being like, "Oh, I won't pay rent, and I'll say I lost my job, and I'll screw for leniency." It's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't have to. And these people maybe will one day hopefully wake up and be like, "Dang, that was the best rent situation I ever had."
Yeah, but we have a quick edit. I have cameras outside and in common rooms, facing the front and back doors, the hallways upstairs, and the door leading to the basement. The tenants have access to entry points like Mr. Attic has the hallway to his area. Mr. and Mrs. Basement have the feed that leads to their door inside the main house, and they all have outside camera access. I'm thinking of cutting access to the outside cameras for them. They can't do anything to the feeds as they are guests in the system, so they can't delete anything. My access automatically saves on external systems. I might just cut them all out of the system except Mr. Attic for peace of mind. Also, I keep seeing people ask about our family. There are no parents and no family from our side. My sisters have no relationships with their fathers or families. Mine have been unalive due to their own actions. There's no sympathies for the likes of him, and his family shunned him, so they shunned me as well. And our mother is a cup of ash left at the funeral home. Wow. So bad parents. And that's the end of the story. My favorite quote in this whole thing is that OP is the greedy one. Whenever they were trying to get a friend to move into an office space, and then they were trying to get lower and lower rent. That's just wild.
Yeah,
Wild.
but OP's the greedy one.
My girlfriend cheated on me with our friend.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. This is hard. We've been together for nearly 8 years. We built a life together. So there's so much to this, but basically I, 27 male, did that thing that everyone in a relationship should be wary of. I looked through my girlfriend's 25 female phone and I found messages upon messages from a mutual friend who lives out of state now that were concerning. Initially, I was going to leave right then and there, but I wanted to try to talk to her. You know, when you see messages that you just don't want to see on the phone of cheating, it's a knife to the heart. I gave her almost 3 chances to own up to it. By the way, this comes from Throwaway. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the first time I was really vague and just asked if there was someone else. She flat out denied it. I thought I was prepared for her to deny, but turns out I wasn't. Then the other times I got more and more pointed. Finally, she admitted that the guy had messaged her and flirted with her, but we knew he was that way. And while she didn't tell him to F off, she wasn't into it. Now, I didn't see any messages from her at the beginning that showed she was exactly complicit in it. So while I didn't believe her, I tried to give her a chance. Tried to tell her, tell me what's the truth.
Tell me the truth.
Tell me the truth.
OP gives her too many chances. He's like, I'll give you a chance. Tell me the truth. And she lies. I'll
She lies
give you another
and lies
chance.
and lies.
Tell me the truth.
I know it's stupid, but we've been together for so long and we built a life together. But then I dug again.
Oh, no.
Man is a little gopher. And there it was. All of it. And worse, she took the time to insult me to him. That is sucky.
That's rough.
That's freaking
That's
sucky.
rough. Talking
Also-
about you behind your back.
Yeah, that's also, hi, Allie, I love you. I miss you. That hurts. So effing much that hurts. I know my faults, and I know that I could have worked on this relationship, but I really tried. Every day I tried. But for her to tell someone else things about me like that, I can't help but feel broken. So right now, I'm waiting for her to wake up and leave for work. Then I'm packing what I can and heading to a friend's place, and I don't know. I spent the 8 years on this relationship, and I'm going to walk away from it. I wrote a note out on my phone that I'm going to write up for her after she leaves. It says everything I can think to say. I mulled over what to say nonstop. Somewhat satisfyingly, I'm going to tell her how she did this. To know that and remember that. And that if at any point she thinks we can become okay, that no, she effed this up and it hurts so much. He's going to make sure she knows.
Yeah. She can never forget this betrayal.
I'm scared. I'm lost. And so much so I don't want to have to do this. But I have to. And I know ultimately it's going to get better. But also, F all of this. And that is where
Dang.
that first part ends. We got an edit 1. We got an edit 2. We got lots of edits.
Yeah, I mean, there's no coming back from this.
What do we think about OP kind of like leaving in the night? Like not confronting right away, but basically saying like, hey, I'm leaving.
I mean, I personally am a fan of having a conversation as long as you don't feel unsafe and being like, hey, you did this, so we're done.
Yeah, I don't know about the leave in the night thing.
I personally am more a fan of like upfront stuff.
Unless you think they're going to destroy
yes,
your
unless-
crap or you're unsafe. Yeah.
Unsafe. Another point is that OP has been given her, like, definitely he is in the right for leaving
Yeah.
in general. Like, that's a separate point. Just like, I think straight up conversation, usually best.
Agreed. But we got an edit 1. So she's up now and getting ready to work. She tried to kiss me and apologize about tossing and turning all night, and she knew it kept me up. I seem to be getting a lot of pushback on the letter. When she leaves, I'm going to pack and I'll mull it over it again. But I'll say this, if I decide to write it and it ends up being a mistake, so be it. It felt nice to at least draft it out on my phone. made things more real so I can convince myself that I have to leave. So he hasn't left yet.
Yeah.
They're like still like sleeping together.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. He drafted a letter, but he hasn't given it to her.
Oh, dang. Ooh. I thought he left already.
No, he
Oh,
hasn't
dang.
left. He wrote the letter, hasn't yet like actually sent it. He's doing
Yeah.
the Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know, write the letter to your
Scored
enemies.
7 years ago, you cheated on me with my friend.
Edit 2, 8:30 a.m. She just left for work. I'm going to shower and truthfully let out a nice cry, then pack my stuff. Lots of people are saying to straight ghost her, and lots are saying a short and to the point note instead of a letter. I'm going to contemplate that in the shower. She kept saying I love you, and I was reluctant to say it back. She said it 3 times, and I kind of grumbled it out once. I'm certain once she reaches work, she'll text me about that. I'm not going to respond to her while she's at work. She won't be home until probably 8 tonight. I just realized I should timestamp the edits maybe. I don't know. Edit 3, 8:54. I'm packing up now. Cats seem to know something is up because they won't leave me alone. Honestly, breaks my heart. I've been mulling the letter over. I reread it a few times, and I've decided on a short note, just laying out that I know and I'm leaving. Essentially something like, I left. I know about you and him. Insert what I read and saw. I'm so utterly disappointed in you. I won't be answering my phone, and I wish you not to contact me. At some point, we'll get together to discuss logistics. I think that's okay.
I don't think it's a bad letter.
I think it's okay.
I think that if the second best thing, if you're not gonna have a conversation, is the letter, because you get out all the like feelings and stuff.
Yeah, but I
But I
do
still
think
think a conversation.
but I think you can do a letter to have a conversation.
Sure, I think that's
You
true.
know?
I
'Cause
think think that's like sending a text saying let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like when you live together too.
Uh-huh.
This isn't. I feel like this is an issue in this. Is like when you live together, it's hard to have that conversation, have space, and have your own space.
Absolutely.
You know, so I feel like having a place you can stay.
But I think like saying like, hey, I want to talk. I want to have this conversation. I cannot be staying here. Like maybe even putting that in the letter. I can't stay here right now. Want to have a conversation with
Yeah.
you to actually talk about all of this. Doesn't mean we're getting back together. But I can't be here to have it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think that a letter does not negate the need for a conversation.
Also, I'm reading everyone's comments. If I didn't reply, I'm sorry. To the people that have commented about going through something similar, I am so sorry you're going through this as well. I don't know what you'll be able to glean from my situation, but I hope something here in all of this helps y'all as well. Edit 4, 9:25 a.m. I'm pretty much packed with what I can get out right now. Obviously, there's a lot more. I'm writing the note and then leaving. I'll need to find food after I drop off what I have. This may be the last update since she won't be off till later tonight, but I'll respond to y'all when I can. Gives me something to do. Edit 5, 10:42 a.m. I'm at my friend's place. She's giving me the lay of the land. People have been talking about taking the cats. Currently, that's not an option. Friend has 3 and a dog. My cats are spoiled and hate anyone that isn't her and I. I'm not worried she'd do anything to them. If anything, she's going to want them around if she does get upset. Not that she deserves that, but it is what it is. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words and advice. I'll respond to some of you again here soon. Someone asked me about my work. I work in an equine care with horses.
Sick.
It's actually really cool. I love my job.
Like Morty's mom.
Yes, like Morty's mom. And I love being there. So once I start going back in a few days, it'll be a really good distraction.
That's great. You can be with the horses instead of your cheating girlfriend.
Yep.
Yay.
Also, my friend reminded me she's going out of town next week for a week, so I'll have the place to myself. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hey, she'll have someone to watch her animals while she's gone, so there's that. I know I have a lot of figuring out to do, but I literally just left. Oh, and someone else mentioned they hope I find things to do to make myself happy. I had plans before all of this to go to the usual brewery with some friends tomorrow. Initially, I was going to call some of them and tell them what's going on and that I need space. But thinking about it more, it actually sounds like the perfect distraction. Edit 6, 1:45.
Really specific time.
Yeah, we are getting the minute by minute update.
Just read that sentence.
Got food, banh mi,
I love
and
banh
Mai
mis.
Tai. If anyone
Banh
was
mis are
curious,
so good.
they are good. Wait, those are like the Vietnamese French.
They're like the sandwiches.
Yeah.
With like oh my goodness, I love a banh mi.
And talk to a couple of friends. So I'm sorry I haven't been replying. It's going to take a while to go through all the messages and comments, but what I've seen so far, I want to say for the umpteenth time. Thank you. I'm ready for the shoe to drop. Like I want her to figure. Like I want her to.
Yeah, to be like, wait, where are you?
Where are you,
sweetie? Where are you? Where are you?
Edit 7/215. This is my last update.
Ooh.
Apparently, I used a word that alt-right folks like to use, but it was used to describe me, so whatever.
Huh?
I'm still trying to go through all the comments, but I saw some people had questions. I'll do my best to address. The friend is, well, a friend. I don't know what else to say on that. There's nothing there. A guy and a girl can be friends, and that's it. If this is weird for you guys, then I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a straight move-in. I'm still figuring things out. Some people have said, I'm no better than her, and 8 years and not being married was also a bad sign, etc. Well, I guess so. Also, he's only 27.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like that's honestly normal for a younger relationship.
I agree. Yeah, 8 years and not married, but they started when they were 19.
Yeah. Like, clearly this relationship isn't working out. Look what it led to. If that's my fault or her fault or our fault or whatever, it is the situation I'm in. And on the note of what it led to, and as far as I know, she hasn't actually cheated, i.e. effed him. They message flirtatious things, calling each other hot, sexy, and there's some pictures, but not nudes. But the recent thing I found, and I'll touch on the going through the phone thing next, was messages about wanting to F each other straight up. That they missed a chance because of me, but that this, for me, is the kicker. He apparently wants to make this is where that word was used of me. Huh? What?
Oh, the alt-right word or whatever.
Oh, to make a blank of me.
Probably like C-U.
He apparently wants to make a cuck of me.
I don't know if that's what that was supposed to say.
I think it's cuck. And she seemed into it. They wanted to have spicy sleep and have me know they did.
Yeah, it probably is that word.
Which is why I don't think they have yet. On the going through the phone thing, I know it was dumb. I know what I did. I don't advocate, but it is how I found out about all of this. I just had suspicions that something was going on with someone. So it did that for me. Would I tell the next person to go through their partner's phone? I don't know. Probably not. I tell them if they find something, it'll hurt because this effing hurts. And if they don't, then they breach the trust and privacy of their significant other for nothing. And that in itself is a weird situation. I don't know, folks. Does that help anyone? Should I elaborate more? And we have an update 11 days later. But what do we think about like this situation? Like, yes, it isn't like they didn't F, but I mean, I feel like they might as well have.
I think they emotionally cheated at the very least, and it doesn't really matter if they physically did or not. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm still not supportive of people looking through other people's phones.
No.
You found out, you did it. The relationship was already going to end. You found the proof that you needed.
Yeah, going through your partner's phone, it damages the trust.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it cannot be come back from in the same way that maybe like cheating.
I agree.
Is,
I just think it usually is a sign that your relationship's already
going downhill, or like you need a therapy, counseling. You need
Sure.
you need a lot of long conversations.
Mhm.
Something. I think this relationship is over. I think OP knows it. I think OP's really hurt about it. You can see in all these updates.
Yeah.
He's like giving the internet
It's like,
updates.
what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah. Like nonstop. I think OP needs to stay strong
Mm-hmm.
in ensuring that there's separation here.
Yeah.
But we got an update 11 days later. So we had our talk last night.
Ooh.
I got back and she tried to crack a couple of jokes like things were normal. I started off and told her that I loved her and I had for nearly 8 years we were together, but this is something I can't forget or forgive. I told her I knew everything that they said between them and it disgusted me, that it hurt deeply, and that she did that. Now, I told her I didn't believe I'd be okay because of this for a long time. That's half true. This will, of course, take plenty of healing, but I know I'll be okay. Now for her side.
Mm-hmm.
She has a side.
Ooh.
OP, stay strong. Stay strong.
I mean, we know you've given her multiple chances to tell the truth, and she has never once told the truth. So I don't imagine that we'll get much of the truth here.
She told me that none of this had to do with me. None of it was my fault.
She's lying.
It was all her mistake, her F up. She had been feeling unhappy just about life for a while. She felt stuck in life and aimless. Then this guy, an ex-friend, came along and gave her attention, and it distracted her from how unhappy she was with how her life was. But then it started to progress to a point where she didn't know what to do. None of what she said she meant to him. She said it because she knew he wanted to hear it, that it almost didn't seem real to her. It almost felt like a game. I told her it was real to me. that she still said those things, that she can't take that back or undo it. She told me she never intended to hurt me, that that's been the hardest thing for her because she knew I treated her better than anyone else will, that I'm the only person who had and will put up with her BS. She told me I really did treat her better than she deserved. This relationship is officially over, though. I know there's probably more I wish I could have said, but my real takeaway is that I cannot let go of it. I need to move on and start to live a new chapter of my life. I haven't told her this yet. I'm going to on Monday, but I have an opportunity on a new place with a coworker. That's good. I feel like OP is like moving on, moving out.
I also
like,
think that was a really
staying
helpful
firm.
conversation.
Yeah.
I think that allowed them to both kind of move on from this because which is why I think that conversations are helpful.
And, you know, as crappy as it is to cheat on someone,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like her response to it is like as good of a one
I
that
agree.
you could hope. She's like, yeah, I messed up.
Yeah.
I really messed
It
up.
wasn't anything to do with you. It was all
It was
me.
all me.
I was in a bad place in my life and I shouldn't have acted on that and I did. And I think that.
Honestly, I don't know if we've had this good of a reaction.
I agree.
This is a world-class response to effing up from cheating.
I agree. Doesn't mean at all that he
Not
has
absolved.
to get that. Yeah, not absolved
Not
at all.
absolved.
But I do think it shows like a level of maturity.
Yeah.
I still think they should break up and they
Yes.
are, and I think that's great. And you know, maybe she's not saying complete truths. Maybe she is trying to absolve herself.
I don't know.
But
it feels
I think
like
that
it was
is
all true.
it sounds like a mature.
It sounds mature. I mean, someone said, or let's see, Chibi Lee says she's planning to do this anyway. Lol, she's trying to keep the relationship so she can fill her twisted fantasies of like cucking this guy. I don't know if that.
I mean, literally anything is possible. I just say like
Yeah.
it seems like OP got what he needed out of this conversation. That's what I think.
Their roommate leaves in a few months, so that gives me time to save and get some of my life back in order. I have a lot of work ahead of me, a lot of things to figure out. As plenty of people have pointed out, this will be the first time in a long time that I'll be financially and personally independent. I'll only have me to worry about. That's something that'll take some work, but I'm going to welcome the challenge and spend as much time as I can trying to be who I am more than ever. I always want to say, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, thank you to everyone that took the time to read and respond in the last post. This has been and will continue to be one of the hardest things I've gone through, but you guys have been so amazingly gracious with your advice. I will always remember this and the kindness of random strangers on this silly little website. By the way, you should be in our silly little website and listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, an update 2.
Woo boy.
But how do you feel about where OP is landing?
I think good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, mature response from both of them. Frank the Pug. Shout out Frank the Pug. I haven't seen you in a sec.
That's just because you haven't been
That's
here.
true. That's just because I haven't been there. But it's nice to see you. She's such a bad liar. If you're feeling lonely or sad in your relationship, you talk to your significant other. You don't plot to humiliate the guy you love.
I completely agree.
Completely agree. But I do think that
I'm literally only like I don't care about any, like I do care about all of her actions and I'm just not talking about any of her actions.
Yeah.
During
Prior,
the relationship
I feel like
and cheating.
Like if
Unexcusable. I just think like what she said, what like out of all of the cheater responses that we've heard, they're usually like, well, you did this or like blah, blah. It's blamey.
Yeah.
It did feel like I understand.
I was transported into her body, having done the things that I had just done, and I was trying to be the best possible person going forward, knowing that I had just done all those things, I would say what she said.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. But
again, it doesn't mean that she is absolved of anything.
no, she's not absolved. All right. Update 2. First things first. I'm sick.
Oh no.
Going to the doctor Monday. Think I have an ulcer in my stomach. Not sure, probably from all the stress.
Yeah, probably.
So I've been dealing with that. But as far as everything else, moving into my new place in about a week, talk with the ex on and off. Wouldn't say things are friendly, but we're being civil. There's nothing really for us to talk about anymore. So it's been like once a week, something random. We had lunch a couple of weeks ago and she opened up a lot. She has a lot of growing to do. I do, of course, as well. And she's not doing anything with that guy, just wants to focus on herself and bettering herself. Until this past week, being too sick to go out, I've been hanging out with friends and goofing off. Tried to brave a small concert the other day, but almost threw up while I was there. I've been meaning to make an update, and I'm sorry I haven't, folks. Things are all right. I've got things going for me. I've been basically focusing on that. budgeting, making various lists of things I need and things I want to do. I'm getting 2 paid vacations this year and just generally figuring out my life. That is where the story
There you go.
ends.
And I want you to figure out your life. And I'm glad for you.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you're doing it. Good luck to you.
But folks, that was the end of that story.
I feel like honestly, both people after being after she was terrible, I feel like both of them grew a little bit from this.
I agree.
Yeah, which is what you want to see. What you want to see.
You hope for in a bad situation.
It was a bad situation. Elena says, Sam is so precious as a boyfriend. OMG.
My girlfriend catfished me multiple times to check if I'm disloyal to her.
That's one stinky little catfish.
This happened a short while ago, but I only found out recently and haven't done anything about it. We've been dating for just over a year. Firstly, I'm a student, but on Twitter, I'm trying to get a small following for indie games development, as I'm interested in game development and like to make a few small things. Not long before all this happened, I had some tweets showing off some of my stuff that got moderately popular. I gained some followers, got some attention, and it encouraged me to post more and more. By the way, this comes from Do It For The Metric System, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, one night, just before sleeping, I texted my girlfriend goodnight, and then my Twitter buzzes with someone tweeting at me to message them. Their account is clearly about indie development stuff too, but mostly bare, only saying that they'll post their own stuff soon. I figure it's someone who saw my stuff and wanted to ask for help, so I messaged them. It didn't take long for their messages to get weird and flirty, and with the girl asking if I found her pretty, amongst other things. I told her that she's asking the wrong person. I said I had a girlfriend, but they didn't stop. They sent a picture of her legs, which I deleted, and then they said to me that they would tell my girlfriend that I had flirted with them, which I hadn't. My girlfriend messaged me after all of this, saying that she couldn't sleep. I told her what happened, and then she told me to block the account, so I did. I dismissed it as a bot, but then thought about how oddly targeted it was. The fact that they knew to target not only indie game development, but a specific subcategory of indie game development that I was interested in. I watched the account, thinking that they would repurpose themselves for another attack if it was really a bot, but ever since, it lay dormant. I found this odd and concluded it must have been someone who knew of my account to try and personally attack me. I figured I would never know who, so I let that be the end of it. 2 to 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend did something that led me to believe that catfishing people wasn't beyond her. I analyzed the messages from the Twitter account and noticed that they were similar to my girlfriend, but almost as if it was specifically her trying to type as if it's not her. Furthermore, I recalled that on that night, my girlfriend conveniently disappeared just before this girl contacts me and reappeared once the conversation had ended, where my girlfriend asked specifically what I was doing and why I couldn't sleep. Lastly, I remember my girlfriend expressing some insecurity about wishing that she was a game developer so that I would love her more, which would be a believable motive. It was all too convenient. I happen to have her password, and I know that she uses it for everything, so I try it on the account, thinking I've got nothing to lose. And boom, I'm into the account. So I know it was her. She tried to catfish me with a fake account to prove that I'm disloyal, and yet I didn't do anything wrong. I told the fake girl immediately that I have a girlfriend, nor did I flirt back. She brings this up occasionally as if it's something that I did wrong, even though I know it was her. What should I do? Thanks. And there are some comments, but I want to hear your comments. What do you think he should do?
Break. 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 You break up.
Yeah. I agree. I think if someone wanted to cheat, then they would. And you can't do anything about that, even though it sucks and you want someone to be loyal. But like, you gotta let them cheat and then break up with them afterwards.
I mean, like, if someone's gonna do that, they're gonna do that.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
It's just like, it's too weird.
It's too
weird.
weird.
What are you doing?
But we do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, if someone has to act this way to make sure that you're loyal, it's time to leave. Huge red flags. She needs mental help. You needs to leave before she gets worse. OP responds, if I left, she would probably say that she was right all along because she's always kind of doubted my loyalty. I had asked her to see a counselor before, but she refused, saying it wouldn't help her and that there are long waiting lists in this country. Commenter number 2 says the girlfriend is still very young. If she was called out on this, she might be able to correct their behavior before it becomes a bigger problem. But let's be honest, most of us don't correct our behavior until it costs us something. And that's not necessarily even enough. We do have an update. Hello again. Since the last post, I had decided to defer any action until after my exams to try and minimize the chaos from any fallout for any parties involved. Things didn't quite go the way I had planned, though. It amazes me that this happened again. So recently on Instagram, I had been liking a lot of pictures to do with Lego. This happened to gain me a lot of followers from Lego fan accounts, and I had mentioned this to my girlfriend about how strange it was. Then, just 5 minutes after telling her, another account follows me with a username along the lines of Lego account. I literally watched the account form in front of my eyes as it followed me and liked a series of my pictures. Every time I checked the profile, it had more details suddenly filled in. Profile picture, bio, etc. It followed the exact same format as the fake Twitter account, preying on a hobby of mine that she doesn't share, with a bio saying that they'll post new content soon, looking to make friends, and messaging me saying that they liked my stuff and wanted to chat. I reverse image searched the Instagram profile and found that it was from a girl off of TikTok. Of course, it was almost certainly my girlfriend who made the account, so I just ignored the account's messages. The messages from the account got more and more extreme, calling my girlfriend a salute and sending full unclothed pictures. I logged into the Lego account from my girlfriend's password that I knew, and sure enough, it was her.
Mid hack.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, wait. In the middle of her sending you all this unhinged lies, you just logged into the account and just go, you go, stop.
Yeah. I feel like he should log into these accounts and then change the username to like the girlfriend's name. Yeah. And then he's like, why is this account saying it's your name messaging you these things? What?
Oh my God.
I mean, he should just be honest and just call her out. But like, that would be a fun way to mess with her for sure.
Yeah, it would be.
That night, she must have felt particularly bold because around the same time, I got another account popping up on Twitter, this time targeting coding. This time, it was even sloppier than even the Instagram account, and I was getting so sick of these endless fake accounts, so I just said, hi, girlfriend's name, and the account instantly blocked me. Then my girlfriend messages me saying that she keeps getting emails from her account and asks if I tried to log in. I just explained that I knew she had been setting up these fake accounts and asked her why she did it. And she immediately starts accusing me of things. For backstory, the reason I knew her password is because a close friend of hers had her password and was logging into her accounts and stealing private pictures. Oh, wow. Of course, since telling her that I was logging into her fake accounts, she accused me of logging into her main accounts, which I hadn't, and being as bad as her friend that was stealing her private pictures. She accused me of being insensitive to the harm that caused her and said how she couldn't believe that I didn't trust her so much that I would think it was her and log into her accounts. She even accused me of checking if the accounts were hers so that it would be a clear for me to flirt with them. At no point did she acknowledge how unusual that behavior was. She asks me to block her, and I don't. And then the conversation moves on to her saying how I don't care about her and how one of her other guy friends is the only guy that compliments her. This is between exams, so I didn't want to make up much of a fuss, but I was astounded that she still acted like she had done exactly nothing wrong. It isn't brought up again for a couple of weeks until about 2 days ago. Mid-conversation, she had been saying that there's probably lots of girls in my Instagram search history. And I said the only girls in my Instagram search history were from when I reverse image searched the fake accounts.
Brother, why are we going weeks after these revelations? Why are we still dating her?
That needed to be the end of it. She immediately jumps to saying that I saved nudes because I had to save pictures to have performed the reverse image search. And then she said how the profile pics were lewd. The profiles that I saved weren't. And she accuses me of having the nudes still saved. I actually deleted all pictures I used for reverse search, and none of which were not safe for work. And she accused me of getting off to them. She even questions me and using plural accounts and says that she only had one account, even though I managed to log into at least 2 with her password. She keeps repeating this point that I was saving nudes, which I wasn't, to completely deflect from me saying that she set up fake accounts. By the way, there are no fake accounts on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is of OK Storytime. Search OK Storytime and you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one. There is a little bit more to the story, but oh my gosh, I cannot believe that he hasn't broken up with her yet.
I think it was, he mentioned that it's like, I'm deferring anything until after exams. But honestly, I think that you need to like really, if this person in any way like shares a space with you or has access to like the keys to your house, like you need to change locks. Like you need to be like very, because this is not someone living in reality. Yeah. And which can be dangerous.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But
like, no, I don't mean to make it more too intense.
No, that's
But like, if she's able to literally lie to herself about the things she did, imagine if she lies to herself and she's like, he's threatening me, and like, what was she gonna like grab? Like, could she like hurt you and then just be like, well, no, he
like
was gonna hurt
defense.
me. And it's like, because she's just so not in the real world.
Yeah, no, I. But there is a little bit more to the story. She says to me that she would rather be catfished than to find out that her boyfriend has been saving other girls' nudes. The only way that she shows any form of remorse is to say that we were both in the wrong. She tries to deflect the conversation to say about how sad she is, etc. And I say to her that she's changing the subject, which she then accuses me of changing the subject because I keep insisting that I didn't save the nudes.
Dude, like,
that's not changing the subject. That's just denying what you're accusing.
Right. That's just saying like, no, I didn't do that. Honestly, at this point, he needs to just be like, hey, that guy you said compliments you. Why don't you just go to him?
Yeah.
Just go to that guy.
Exactly. The conversation ends with her saying that she's going to talk to one of her friends that actually acknowledges her feelings, and then she ignores me for the rest of the day. No apology, no real acknowledgement, no explanation, just consistent lies. I'm at a loss here, guys. How can I get through to her? Is there even any point? Thanks again. There are some comments, but OP doesn't respond to this.
Man.
So
just walk away.
Walk away, man. You know, I've been in a similar situation, I'm going to say. When someone accuses you of cheating, from all the stories that we've found out, it seems like they are usually the ones cheating.
The odds that it's projection.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
My brother keeps crashing my dates.
Sounds like your brother wants something on your date.
Basically, my 20 male brother, 26 male, has never been exactly successful with girls. To be blunt, he's a virgin. He's not had his first kiss or gone on a date. He's kind of a nerdy guy, but I'm like a super nerd too. We both play games, read a lot, and stuff. Main difference between us is that I also have other hobbies like sports, and in general, talk to girls more. Freaking dunk on your brother, man.
Boom.
Dunk
I'm just
on him.
better.
I'm just better
I'm
than
hotter
he is.
and more nerdier.
Yeah, I'm like, He said, my brother's a nerd. I'm a super nerd. Though I don't know if talk to girls more is a symptom or the cause. By the way, this comes from Mergalote, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, either way, he kind of strongly resents me for talking to girls. He says that it isn't fair that I shouldn't be able to do that since I'm younger and shorter than him. For some reason, the height is a big thing for him. I'm about 170 centimeters and he's about 185.
He's 6 foot and he still can't pull girls?
Going. He questions me every time I mention I'm going to go out and gets kind of strongly pissed off if I tell him I'm going with my girlfriend. He's been doing this since I was, I want to say 14. But since I entered this relationship about 1.5 years, almost 2 years now, anniversary coming up, he got way worse. I don't live with him anymore, but he still calls a lot and has been getting upset. He used to call me in the middle of the night when he felt bad about his girl issues. He had a habit of saying he felt worthless because of not being able to date girls, and sometimes calling me around 4 a.m. or so in a borderline panic attack to talk to me about it. I told him to stop this because, well, it was one thing to do it when I was younger, but now my girlfriend usually sleeps with me. Like, even when we don't do anything spicy related, we just like to sleep together because, hey, cuddling's awesome, and I'll fight anyone who disagrees. You don't have to fight me. So I don't like my phone ringing at 4 a.m. and told him to stop. Turn your phone on silent.
Also,
It's an easy fix.
easy fix here, right here.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got low confidence, and if you commit yourself to a couple of months at the gym, you will be so like baffled by
Yeah.
how much confidence you're getting. Because it just sounds like he has no self-worth.
Yeah, I feel like people say, oh, I'm nerdy, so I can't get girls. Nah, girls love nerdy guys.
There's one right there.
Yes. The thing is, I think it's when you're antisocial or socially awkward. I feel like they equate the two, and it's like they're not always,
Girls like guys that know a lot about stuff.
It's true. Being competent, hot.
Talking to girls, it's not really a scary thing. Some of them are
We're
scary.
just people.
Yeah, they're
We're
people
just
too.
people like you.
Yeah, especially when they're really beautiful. It might be a little tough to say hey, but sometimes you just got to turn around and ask them what their name is.
And there you go. Recently, he flew over to visit me. I'm at university. And well, I kind of got the impression he flew over more to try to date someone than to see me. My girlfriend had a less than positive impression of him, and I can't even disagree with her. She went into super protective mode and was like, okay, we're keeping him away from you. Because, well, his behavior in person got a lot worse than last time I saw him, like 2 years before. And he kind of looked at me and my girlfriend funny every time we kissed and stuff. He also, and this is according to my girlfriend and a friend of hers, looked at them in ways that made them feel uncomfortable and looked down my girlfriend's shirt while she was bending over to get something. No.
Seems like he's gone down a rabbit hole and is now seeing women as
Objects,
playthings rather than people.
Well, yeah, I think that when you get into that kind of thing, I think a lot of men do this where they're so scared to talk to women and they put them on pedestals and then you start to objectify these women and that's not
then hate
good.
them.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, these women don't talk to me and they don't realize that I'm a nice guy. And it's like, no, you're not.
I'm nice guys, finish last.
No, you just have nothing to offer. He used to see a therapist, but gave up. Parents are of no help in that regard. Major reason I've kind of reached my limit is that when I confronted him about the looking down my girlfriend's shirt incident, he started to cry and say that I was being a terrible person because I was turning the first time he saw front airbags into a bad memory.
Time out. Wait a second.
Oh my God, I would punch
This
him.
is the first time in my bloodline I have ever heard this sentence. Anyone in my family has ever heard this sentence. You were looking at front airbags into a bad experience?
No.
What kind of...
He said, OP's brother said, me looking at your girlfriend's front airbags, you saying, hey, don't look at my girlfriend's front airbags, turned it into a bad memory. Why are you looking? You freaking creep.
Dude,
I hate this man.
this guy needs to understand how to
Lord,
respect people.
I would literally say, like, get out of here. Oh my goodness. I'm not exaggerating it. That's exactly what he said. After that, I was like, okay, I'm done with you. Good. And didn't talk to him until he left. I spent the whole time with my girlfriend to make sure she was okay with everything. She was okay with me, rather hates him though, which is more than fair. He also complained that I was apparently having more fun with my other friends than with him and tried to yell at me for it. I literally never want you to have any fun in the rest of your life. You suck. I feel bad for him because there was a time when he was really just a supportive guy and I thought he was awesome. I remember being like 6 and wanting to grow up to be just like him. Now it's like, what happened to you, man? I idolized you. How did it turn out like this? Where's the big brother who had my back and taught me how to handle problems at school? At the same time, the way he's acting is unacceptable, so I'm at a point where either he needs to seriously change himself or I can't see him again. And there is an update, folks.
I'm so lucky I have a brother like my brother.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, man.
My brother is great and very respectful, and I just can't even imagine someone like your own brother saying this to you. One, about any woman,
Yeah.
but two, about your own girlfriend.
Yeah, dude, this is so weird.
Yeah.
I think he's just not like that. He's put himself in a situation where he's very antisocial, won't get out, only relies on video games. That's the only way he can cope. And now he's like turned into this like evil, like little goblin person that looks down women's shirts and it's a creep.
Yeah, gross. Gross.
This is where we need community. We need.
Yeah.
Dang.
Teach your sons how to be not creeps.
Yeah.
Teach them how to respect women.
And there's so many guys like this out there that just there's nothing. Like,
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Just stop teaching your boys to think that there's this huge delineation between men and women. We're all just people. And there is an update. 6 months later. As an update, I'm 21 now and he's 27. Been a while since I posted. Happened to come home for a week, reading week at university. and saw I was still logged into this throwaway. Figured an update might be good in case anyone was curious. So, unfortunately, I've cut my brother off from my life. Makes sense. Not completely, but that's more to avoid issues than anything else. I still occasionally respond to his texts like once every 2 weeks or so, but I've stopped talking and hanging out with him. It's just that a less dramatic cutting him off is more effective than a "we're done" talk and avoids many issues. He attempted to get into therapy again after I bargained with him, said I'd hang out with him a bit more if he did, but he quickly stopped going after saying that his therapy visits just made him feel worse. Later, he explained that he felt like the therapist was judging him by trying to find out why he wasn't having success with women. She probably was judging you, or they were judging you probably very hard.
She was trying to make you critically
Yeah,
think.
she was like, why do you think that women don't like to talk to you?
It's sad because you can be uncomfortable in two ways, like uncomfortable being in your own skin
Yeah.
or uncomfortable doing hard things, and you're choosing to be uncomfortable in your own skin, thus making everyone around you uncomfortable in their own skin.
He didn't quite tell me like that, but after filtering through his rants, that's basically what he said. He repeated things like, felt so judged. It made me feel like it was my fault. A lot. From what he said, it sounded like the therapist wasn't doing anything wrong, in my opinion. He continued to treat women poorly and, well, put it this way, he went back to college to join a bunch of clubs so he could hang out and meet new people. A couple days later, he mentions the girls were super superficial, and on the same breath starts talking about how attractive they were. Says he's just an emotional sponge to women, which he described to me as, well, just being a friend. Things like hanging out when a friend is down or buying them a soda when you feel like they had a tough day. The way he described it, it sounded like some kind of heck instead of, well, friendship. Because he doesn't know how to be friends with women. And he doesn't want that. He doesn't want any sort of friendship with women. So I come home 1 week. Parents' Place tournament was near home rather than university. Having just gotten a medal at aforementioned tournament. Woo! And with girlfriend and friends from the team. We are all in a good mood. I cook food and stuff. He goes to his room in a hurry, so I brought him some food. I cooked since I know he's awkward in front of new people, but might still be hungry. He kind of, not really intentionally, but sort of, made me drop the plate by getting on my face and rushing at me, if that makes sense. I was kind of scared. He went on a semi-incoherent rant about how people like him made him feel terrible. And seeing me with girlfriends, sports was the absolute worst thing for his self-esteem. How I was a terrible brother and things like that. He also called me a normie, which is a thing I wish no one not in high school said unironically. Overall, he was being very negative and, well, a knucklehead. So I was like, okay, and went downstairs to spend time with friends. Later, we went back to our university town. Sorry for being vague, just on the super unlikely case he's reading this since he's big on Reddit. Well, then again, guess he'd know from context anyway, so I guess I'm just being paranoid. And started having a party there. I say party, but come on, we're on the fencing team. We're the nerdiest of athletes. It was actually just friends hanging out with some girly drinks. I proudly love girly drinks. They're the best thing. They're just sweet drinks. There's no such thing as a girly drink. It's just a drink and it's sweet. Pizza, and One Punch Man. I'm having a blast and he calls asking what I'm doing. And when I answered, he started crying and going on a rant about how it was unfair that people like me got to have that.
Bro,
You sound like
you gotta
a
go back to
nightmare.
therapy or something. You can't. I can't do
Can't be
this.
around you.
Can't do this.
I don't even know what people like me means. He's saying people that are nerdy also get to like have friends and have a relationship and stuff. And he's like, but I'm nerdy and I can't have that because he's unpleasant to be around.
Yeah, dude. I feel like, you know what the Chinese government does? If they find someone that's depressed, like a guy that's depressed, make him join the army, and then after like a couple of months, he gets a sense of purpose, and he like starts flourishing. He looks happy. He looks like he's like actually comfortable. This guy
He just needs to join the army.
join the army or just have a sense of purpose, because this guy has no purpose except for looking at everything in a negative way. Whenever he was explaining his friends, he said, oh yeah, I feel like a punching bag because I buy them a soda if they're down, or just being there if they're
And I
in a
don't
bad
get
mood.
anything in return.
It's transactional, and then also it's always bad. Friendships are always bad. It's weird. Weird.
But either way, he was having too much of an effect on my life, and my girlfriend got so sad worrying about me. I figured that taking care of my brother wasn't selfless. Not now that I'm sharing my life with someone, been living with her for a year now and dating her for over 2. I wanted to be a nice, loving brother and to care over his mental state over my own. But even if I wanted that, I can't possibly care for his mental state over my girlfriend's. And she got way too sad watching me. I had to be a little selfish. So yeah, nothing overly dramatic. Just kind of did some growing up and realized that nothing ever affects only me. Because I'm surrounded by wonderful friends and loved ones. So I put up a lot of distance between brother and I. And I've never been so happy. It hurts to distance myself from the brother I've always admired. Like when I was little, I wanted to be just like him, you know? But now, it is what it is. Looking back doesn't get me anywhere, right? Or how my coach puts it, looking back's literally against the rules, so don't do it. For some reason, thinking that always puts a smile on my face. By the way, you know what can put a smile on your face? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
This guy needs to go to purpose camp.
Yeah, find your purpose. Because you don't have one, and you're just drifting and being an awful person to everyone, and no one likes you.
A negative force of energy.
You're draining. You're draining everyone around you, and you need to stop. Danny Elliott says, reminds me of that creepy young brother in Anime Shiki. Thank you for the $5. Yeah, there's a lot of guys like this guy. He's not unique, which he'd probably hate to hear.
It's just a product of, not a great household or
he's probably online and hearing all these red pill things.
That just a bad influence of people, because men thrive off, or anybody, but especially guys need a awesome and proactive and encouraging community of guys, a group of guys, because they don't have that.
Yeah,
dude,
well,
when I moved to LA for a little bit, I was kind of but then I found some basketball peeps, and then I started flourishing again.
I also think, I think all of the men that I know in my friend group are very lovely, and make me proud to call them my friends, because I think that, I think I have a lot of friends, especially in college, who were not fans of men, and I found really lovely men, and I feel lucky for that.
Let's go.
So this guy sucks.
She's avoiding eye contact with me.
Yeah, not you.
Not
No,
this
of course you.
bozo beside of me.
But there are some final comments. Moopig48, the verbiage he's using reminds me of incels. That's because he is one. Literally definition-wise, is one. Exact same language and everything. They're a miserable lot in general. He is digging his own grave with friends and women with that attitude. There isn't much more you can do other than cut contact and tell him to seek therapy. And Opie says, Jesus, that place is horrifying. And it does sound like language he has used before. I hope to God he hasn't been there, but oh my goodness, that's man. I don't want to believe it, but it does actually fit. Jesus. Guess it was definitely the right decision to cut him off. And Unqualified 19 says, he sounds like Elliot Rodger. Who's that? An incel, I'm assuming? Everything your brother has done sounds obnoxious, but is there any way to help him that won't be a burden on you? Dude needs help. And OP responds, I've tried getting him into therapy, but he rejected that at every corner. I don't know what to do about him. Osika Taco? Is there maybe something wrong with him mentally? Like he's not all there? OP says he seems all there about everything except women and social stuff in general. Fairly smart guy and all, doesn't stumble upon his words or anything around me. He just thinks women are basically the devil. And this unhealthy view of women is really scary because it can, manifest in much more dangerous ways. He suffers from depression according to the therapist that he saw for a little bit before quitting, but that's all I can tell you for sure. What do OP's parents think of this? Same approach as me, they're both trying to make him go to therapy. His response was that if we keep insisting, he's just gonna move out, which might turn out to be the case. Maybe that'll be helpful. He originally wanted to move in with me, but I shut him down firmly.
Oh my God.
Paula X-Ray says, your poor parents, I can't imagine what I'd do if one of my kids turned out like this. Opie says, I know, it unalives me too. I'm just trying to be as supportive as I can with them and make them proud. They blame themselves about how things turned out, but I always try to convince them that they were wonderful parents because, well, they were and still are. They were the absolute best. It's just, this sort of happened and we don't know how to deal with it. And folks, that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
I don't think that your parents were necessarily like that or anything. I think they probably were great for you, but I do think that there is, because of the access to like the internet
Yeah.
that kids are provided or have been provided for a while, I think you kind of have to go above and beyond as a parent in a way that you probably didn't have to before.
Yeah.
To make sure that your kids are not being influenced by much more negative areas of the internet.
Yeah, because there's a screen. There's a way to get about anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's like a really great interpretation of a show called Adolescence. It's on Netflix. That like really talks about how like parents can kind of do everything right in a way, and then a kid just goes down this terrible, terrible pipeline because of the internet. And because the outside influences that sometimes you as a parent cannot control, and how do you feel, how you feel responsible for that decline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh, wild. Incels. If you know one, reach out and maybe
get them out of there.
Send them a, I don't know, purpose camp.
Yeah,
Invitation.
Send them a link to this story.
Yeah.
I think that would just make it worse.
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, I get this guy.
I don't
Maybe
know.
if they hear us ragging on incels.
Yeah, then they'll just be like,
Honestly,
of
I
course
feel like
everyone's ragging on
like
incels.
if you want to help an incel friend out, go do some volunteer work in some capacity. That might help.
Anything.
Bring them some grass to touch.
I think they just need like a sense of purpose. Yeah, that's really what it is.
They feel very inept and inadequate in their life, and so they take it out on the women and blame it on them.
Weird.
But we got another story, folks.
Yay! Yippee! Yippee!
Here you go.
Yay!
My boyfriend let his best friend's wife change the dish I made and didn't defend me.
At the potluck?
Throwaway account. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 22 female, met at work 2 years ago. Technically, I was working part-time during undergrad, and he was a customer, but after a couple of months, we started going out. I really love this man, and nothing has happened on this scale before, so I'm very confused about it. By the way, this comes from Goldwin5888 on the OK Storytime subreddit. My boyfriend has a very tight group of friends. I am well acquainted with them and their girlfriends. One of them, Dave, just is married to Ellie, fake names. Ellie is an excellent cook and often hosts dinner, and everyone brings a dessert to those dinners. I am the youngest in the group, so most times they brush off my requests for contributing or bringing in dessert. However, the last time I asked Dave and Ellie if they wanted anything extra like wine or some sweet dish for dinner, they said I could bring one of those sweet dishes I make for my boyfriend. I'm Indian, and even though I can't cook as well as my mom, and I'm in a different country for studies, I called my mom up and had her teach me properly how to make a specific Bengali sweet, which is my favorite.
That's so sweet.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
I had my friends taste it and they said it was great. My boyfriend ate some and said it was excellent. Except last night, I greeted Ellie and kept the dish in the kitchen. When the food was brought out and my boyfriend told everyone I made it, I saw that someone had added cinnamon powder to the sweet. You never have the sweet with cinnamon powder. That's such a weird move.
To
Who
add
just
cinnamon?
puts cinnamon on it? What? The dessert tasted like cinnamon and I felt horrible.
Oh wait, they put cinnamon on the
Yes.
whole
Yes.
dessert. I thought it was like he had a
No.
bite and he put it on
They
his.
just put it all. That's crazy.
That's it's so rude to adjust someone's dish, the whole dish.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I didn't put the cinnamon on that. Though everyone said thank you and it was good, I think my face gave it away. And my boyfriend took me aside and said that Elliot told him that my sweet looked too white and thought some cinnamon might bring some color into it. Oh, I thought she meant like the race spice. No, like
that doesn't
like
look
pale.
authentic. It looks like a white person.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
no.
what?
If it's not your dish, and
Why would you ever
because of
touch it?
aesthetics, you're adding a whole ingredient to it.
That's so weird. So weird.
That's so confusing. I just would never think of that.
I don't know. I just felt awful and I started to tear up.
Oh.
My boyfriend then defended Ellie and said that his friends already think I'm a child. And not to make a big deal of this, and we will talk about it. I told him Ellie asked him first, and couldn't he have told her not to add cinnamon to the sweet? He told me he didn't think it was a big deal and asked me to drop the topic on the way home.
Ellie
He
asked
him first, and he gave her the go-ahead to do it. He told me he didn't think it was a big deal and asked me to drop the topic on the way home. I didn't text him goodnight, and this morning he said he was sorry and said my crying made him feel like an awful person. You were. You sucked. I don't know. Now I think I overreacted. Am I the a-hole?
All you did was have an emotional
You
reaction.
literally had an emotional reaction because you spent time and effort making a dish, and then he had the audacity to be like, oh, well, it needed to be changed.
It's like a sensitive situation. You
Yeah.
want to bring something. You want to share a part of
Yeah.
yourself. And food is such a way that people get to share.
Yeah, and it's also so different from like, because, I'll make food and sometimes it needs salt or it's, needs something. And I'm like, yeah, totally add stuff, whatever you need or something. But like
to adjust the whole
to adjust the whole dish is very
And then
Not
again
okay.
to like have an emotional response, which makes sense.
And then to be belittled for it.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
for the partner to explicitly be embarrassed
Yeah.
of you and to essentially dismiss your emotional
Feelings.
experience.
It's a
Yeah.
triple slap in the face because one, I feel like no one tried the dish first, right? It was just like,
no,
oh,
she
the dish
just
is
put
right
it on the
there.
floor
Like,
because she thought
I
it
don't
was
like
too
the
pale.
color of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? And
And-
then you have emotional reaction. You're like, you changed my dish that I made for everyone that I felt, I was happy for everyone to try my food. And then it was changed in front of my face and you told me to suck it up.
Messed up.
Triple slap in the face.
Update. Ellie saw this post. My
Good.
boyfriend, yeah, as she should.
This is the first time I've ever read a story where
oh,
they're
we've read a
like
couple.
someone's
Yeah.
read it from in the story.
It's great. My boyfriend texted me to see if it was me. I said yes. He said we needed to talk. For safety purposes, my best friend will be here. I don't know. I never expected my post to blow up. And update. He said he needed space from the relationship. I think with the way this post blew up and what happened because of a post, I should clear some things up. I never asked if I should leave my boyfriend for this.
But you posted on Reddit, so that's what people are going to tell
Yeah,
you.
they're going to tell you that. I asked if this was an overreaction, my crying. But having thousands of people tell me this was racially charged, Ellie wanted power, my boyfriend is crappy, etc., my brain went haywire. Boyfriend called yesterday, and when I got there, his house, with my best friend, Dave and Ellie were there. Ellie was crying, and Dave looked really pissed at me. Why does anyone tell Ellie that she's being a baby?
Wait, so they kind of just like she didn't know they were going to be
No,
there?
they just ganged up on her for a Reddit
Jeez.
post. My boyfriend told me to sit down, and Dave started with how could I make a post that most of the people in the dinner party would recognize and know and could shame Ellie and my boyfriend. My boyfriend was silent and wouldn't even look at me
What?
and was only shaking his head.
Okay, she's not a child. You're treating her like
you
a
are.
child.
This literally feels like the parents call her in and are scolding her.
Literally. Or like you go into the principal's office,
Yes.
the principal is scolding you as your
This is
parent
so
is just in the
inappropriate.
corner like disappointed.
I hate this. I felt like I was a kid being scolded by my parents with my elder sibling disappointed in my actions. This is what I felt, and it looked like. I admit it was very spineless of me, but Dave went on for like a minute, and I was just looking at my boyfriend, waiting for him to defend me. Well, the fact that he invited them there,
He's not going to defend you.
he's not going to defend you.
He organized this.
I asked Ellie why she would alter my dish after telling me to bring an Indian dish. She said she thought Indian food would be brown. This woman has more Indian friends than me, and she thinks Indian food is brown. She grew up in the UK, and I felt so defeated. The comments, my friends, and people around me telling me his friends came first to him, not me. He said he didn't think the sweet was a big deal. I told him I would never let my friend alter something he spent 3 days learning, getting people to taste it, and got his mom involved.
Oh, I feel so bad for OP.
He saw I put a lot of effort into it, so why let her alter it? Why couldn't he ask me? Ellie started to cry and say that she wasn't being racist, and she wouldn't know that I put effort into it, and now she couldn't host dinners again.
What? She's like, you're stopping me from having all these dinners.
Opie has
now. I can
never
never
even
have a
said-
dinner again.
Opie never even said Ellie was racist. The fact that Ellie is bringing this up is kind
Well-
of telling on yourself, Ellie. I said I used fake names, so why does it matter unless she and Dave went around telling people? Boyfriend told me he didn't expect this from me. Oh, shut
That's such
up.
like a parent move.
Shut up.
Like treating someone like a child. Like,
Yeah, didn't
I'm
expect
not
this-
mad.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
My best friend piped up that he expected that my boyfriend would have an effing spine.
Dang, son.
So I guess they were both disappointed. My now ex
Okay, they broke
boyfriend told me in front of Dave and Ellie that he needs some space. Shut up. I told him to get lost. I don't know what my best friend said to him after that, considering I left my boyfriend's flat. I kind of tripped in the metro station, so now I'm crying on my best friend's couch with an ice pack while his boyfriend keeps giving me peach schnapps and my relationship is toppled over. I wouldn't have stormed out had he looked at me once. He just looked 100% on Dave and Ellie's side and acted like I was the one with the problem when she caused me hurt. If his friends come first when they caused me hurt, where would I have been if I decided to marry this man? My friends are good to me and are acting like I'm some fragile glass. I even heard my best friend and his brother whispering loudly from the kitchen, and his elder brother wanted to threaten him via Insta DMs. I hate that this has come to this, considering I have always been the mom friend to my friend group. I'm drunk while writing this, so have some grace in the comments. Also, if you'll be an incel like those people in my DMs, telling me I'll never keep a man if I'm this dramatic, please go away. I just thought I needed to update. Edit, guys, this is the first time I faced what y'all have been calling racism. TBH, I didn't see Ellie putting cinnamon in my rasagola as racism. I was just hurt that my days of hard work were ruined. That's it. I understand I need to work on my self-esteem and not let people walk over me. My best friend's elder brother, he's a doctor and is super pissed at my ex right now. because he didn't know what happened. Booked an appointment with a therapist he knows as he thinks I need mental help to not normalize aggressive behavior. That's an intense move to make with your brother's best friend. I'm sorry for ranting on Reddit, but I guess that's where I am. Both my best friends and I will be going. He had been there for some time before, and the situation is tense at home because Bestie's brother didn't know what was happening and tore my friends a new one for not protesting when Dave said crap to me. I still haven't told him it was over a Reddit post and that I'm writing here. I feel awful and I don't know how to tell my mom she was right. I wish I never went out with him. And I wish you guys would always join us live every weekday on YouTube at 3 p.m. Just tap our profile. And there is a little bit left, but do you have any final thoughts?
I just like picturing like this interrogation room.
It's just icky.
And like to
So
come
icky.
into that, your partner just not even look you
Not
in
even
the
looking
eyes
you.
and just let his friends just like
Just verbally,
shame you.
just like bash you.
Yeah.
One of my ex's friends from the dinner party asked me if I really left my ex over a dessert. So I guess that's what he told people. It hurts. I know it. Shouldn't, but it hurts. Well, yeah, of course it's going to hurt.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's partially my fault. I shouldn't have let myself be treated like this. There were signs and I ignored them. And now I think I'll never have another relationship because it feels like a horrible, anxious feeling. You will. You will.
Yeah,
You're just going to have a
get,
better one than
like,
this.
This sucks.
It does.
Such a crappy situation, but
You don't have to deal with him anymore. And now you know if you ever make a dish again for people, if you see someone just like going with cinnamon or anything, you like, stop it.
don't touch it.
Yeah. And also to the people who were saying like therapy is good idea. I do think therapy is always like a good idea. I just thought it was weird that the brother was
Oh, to
booking
schedule
her.
it for
Yeah.
someone else. That's like
Yeah.
scheduling a doctor.
Yeah, it's not
appointment
even
for
her
someone
brother.
else.
It was her best friend's brother.
Yeah.
But that's the end of this story. If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
And
see
see you tomorrow.